This page is the front cover of Dreamcast Magazine, dated November 12, 1999. The headline announces the arrival of year-end blockbuster titles and a rush of new releases. The main featured games seem to be Sakura Wars 3, with a tagline asking, "Paris is burning?" and Sega GT Homologation Special. There's a list of highlighted games including Innocent Tears, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Resident Evil 2 Value Plus, Nobunaga's Ambition, Reputin, Skies of Arcadia, Space Channel 5, Evangelion 2, Makai XD, No Shokutaku 2, and Bangai-O. At the bottom, it mentions games like Dead or Alive 2, Derby Owners Club, Outrigger, and Type Fighter. A side column mentions something called Brother Black Magic Tricks Adventure. The cover image features an anime girl character holding a red autumn leaf, hinting at the season. There's also mention of Revive and Sonic Team as special features in the magazine. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Choo Choo Rocket, presented by Sonic Team. It highlights the game as a hand-sweating frantic action puzzle game. The game is priced at 4,800 yen for the color controller set and 2,800 yen for the standard edition, with a release date of November 11th. It features gameplay for 1 to 4 players, network play, puzzle mode, and simple controls. Screenshots show gameplay scenes and the puzzle mode. The page mentions Doki Doki excitement for 4-player battles and emphasizes the simple rules and operation but deep gameplay. It also mentions a puzzle mode that players will be hooked on and network battles. The special appearances of characters Pien and Chao are also noted. This page is a puzzle game called Xian Puzzle, featuring characters from Choo Choo Rocket. The puzzle challenges players to use arrows to guide the choo-choos to a rocket in a grid. An example puzzle demonstrates how to direct the choo-choos, and then a question puzzle is presented for the reader to solve themselves, asking where to place an arrow. It seems to be a fun puzzle feature within the magazine, likely related to the Dreamcast game Choo Choo Rocket. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Revive Sosei and its related media. It highlights pre-order bonuses available at different retailers in Japan, like Yodobashi Camera, Softmap, and Messe Sano. These bonuses include items such as clear posters, special telephone cards, and special sleeves. The advert also announces the release of a Revive Sosei CD drama and opening theme song, titled Portrait 1 and Feel Me, with release dates and prices listed. The bottom of the page mentions a special 3-item bonus included with the game, comprising a mini-drama CD, a premium cell art picture, and a memorial telephone card application ticket. The game itself is described as a Trap Adventure Revive Sosei and is advertised as on sale now. This page showcases an image promoting the game Revive, subtitled Resurrection. The artwork features 3 anime-style girls in a bed with a teddy bear and a cat, and the Dreamcast logo is visible in the top right corner, indicating it is a game for the Dreamcast console developed by Data East Corporation, with character design by Yukinori Umetsu, as per the copyright information. This page is the contents page for a Dreamcast Magazine issue. It highlights key articles and features inside, including a feature on Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning? Quote, which is stated to have even more new information and be different from previous games. There's a new article on Sega GT Homologation Special. The magazine includes a regular feature called Let's Go with Sonic Team, Volume 1, focusing on Choo Choo Rocket as this week's featured title. Another regular section, Dorimaga Why? Exploration Team 10th Exploration, investigates, is Sega Saturn still alive 1 year after its launch, and questions what it is doing now. Further down, Cyber Troopers Virtual on Oratorio Tangram Enlightenment Seminar continues with its 10th round, titled Temjin. Finally, a just-before-release special feature titled Super Producers Aim for the Top of the Showbiz World introduces anticipated Dreamcast titles including Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Resident Evil 2 Value Plus, Space Channel 5, 7th Cross Evolution 2, Nobunaga's Ambition, Reputin, D2, Skies of Arcadia, Evolution 2, Far Off Promise, Make an X, and Bangai-O. This page is the Game Index, listing the games featured in this issue of the magazine and their page numbers. It includes titles such as Air Dancing F, Eternal Arcadia, which was released internationally as Skies of Arcadia, Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future, Space Channel 5, Sega GT Homologation Special, Space Griffin, Choo Choo Rocket, D2, Virtual on Oratorio Tangram, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Bangayo, Panzerfront, Puyo Puyo DA, featuring Elena System, Black Matrix Advanced, Maken X, Langrisser Millennium, Revive, So Say, Ready 2 Rumble Boxing, Outrigger, Derby Owners Club, Dead or Alive 2, and Tri-Fighter. This page is an article titled, Tokyo International Fantastic Film Festival, 99, Zombie Revenge, All Night. It announces the 15th Tokyo International Fantastic Film Festival, 99, held from October 29th to November 5th at Shibuya Pantheon. The event includes a special feature of Zombie Revenge Horror All-Nighter on October 30th, starting at 11 p.m., featuring horror films like Halloween H20 and special talks with Zombie Revenge development staff, film critics, and more. The article mentions that character costumes and figures from Zombie Revenge will be displayed at the venue. Additionally, on November 4th, Sakura Taisen's new series OVA will be premiered ahead of its video release. Shibuya Gigo is also hosting a Zombie Revenge corner on the third floor of the DC antenna shop Dream On, where 4 Dreamcast consoles are available to play Zombie Revenge, along with network experiences via the official film festival homepage. Promotion videos and BGM from Zombie Revenge will be played to enhance the festival atmosphere. The bottom of the page is an advert for Dreamcast Magazine Weekly News Landmark for Friday, October 29th and Thursday, November 4th. The Dreamcast enjoyed a successful European launch, selling 185,000 units in its first 4 days and generating 9.1 billion yen. UK sales surpassed initial PlayStation and Nintendo 64 figures, and online access reached 1.2 million in the first week. A soundtrack album for Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club, Sakatsuku, is set for release on November 21st by Marvelous Entertainment, featuring music from both Dreamcast and Saturn versions. A special edition with bonus downloads will be available. The 99 10th License Fair in Tokyo, November 8 to 10, will showcase potential character merchandise for games, including Shenmue. Finally, a signing event with Samsung Yoshimatsu Sensei, related to the game Samsung, will take place at Sega Freaks in Akihabara on October 31st, promoting his book, Sega no Game wa Sekai Ichi. This page features a variety of events and announcements. Firstly, there's an audio expo called Audio Expo 99, taking place in Tokyo in November, showcasing sound technology. Then there's news of a cosplay event at Kyoto Movie Village, also happening in November. For music fans, there's a Kira Kira Melody Academy Halloween live event in Shinjuku at the end of October, and an anime red and white song battle scheduled for December at the Nippon Budokan, featuring anime and game music from the 20th century. Notably for gamers, Kid, the company, is opening an online character goods shop on their website, selling merchandise including items from the visual novel adventure game series Memories Off. Finally, there is a news piece about a new generation of idols called 5-Star Girls. This page features news and new music releases. Free music and video samples are available for the game Kita Eat. Space Griffon promotional commercials are showing in Shibuya and Akihabara. A pedometer giveaway from the Hyogadaru series is also announced. But rock group Godiego is making a comeback with a new album and single, plus a nationwide tour. New music releases include Shiro Sagisu's Shiro's Songbook, Colorado Tina's Colorado Tina, Risky Suicide Sports Cars, Risky Suicide Sports Car, Takuro Yoshida's Penny Lane, Miyuki Nakajima's B-Wings, UA's Single Turbo UA, and the Maboroshi Tsukiya original soundtrack. Albums are released by various labels with prices ranging from 3,000 to 3,800 yen. This article from Sega's Dreamcast YY Investigation Corps examines the Sega Saturn status 1 year before the Dreamcast's first anniversary. The Q&A format addresses common questions about the console. Sega Saturn repairs remain possible due to a 6-year parts availability policy. As of March 1999, the Saturn had 1702 total software titles globally. Worldwide shipments totaled 9.08 million units, significantly less than the PlayStation's 60 million. Regarding future software, new titles were expected through the end of the year. The article lists upcoming games: Monster Maker Holliger Girl, NEC Interchannel, Real Sound, Kaze no Regret 2, Aoi Haruka Kanata E, Warp, and Worse Wars Elf. Developers expressed challenges in releasing Saturn software due to the console's market position compared to the Dreamcast. A store survey in Akihabara reveals the Sega Saturn market is dwindling. Though new software is unavailable, demand for used consoles and games persists, especially among dedicated fans, with reasonable prices. Interviewing a buyer from Messe Sano, the article notes the Dreamcast's increased popularity and the Saturn's decline. The survey lists prices at 3 stores. Store A has higher prices for used games and trade-in values. Store B offers both new and used Saturn items, with prices similar to Messe Sano. Store C emphasizes used consoles and software, particularly focusing on premium and rare titles. Premium prices are emerging for certain Saturn software due to scarcity and collector demand. Even adult-rated games are becoming difficult to find. The article briefly mentions Sega's development divisions and future R&D plans, listing game titles like D&D and Sakura Taisen 1 and 2 with their prices. This page is an advertisement for Wave model kits, based on the Cybertroopers Virtual Arion Oratorio Tangram series. It showcases 4 1/144th scale model kits, the MBV707G Temjin, MBV04 and 10/80ths, HBV05F and S Raiden, Mysalpin's Raiden Customized, and HBV05 EK2 Raiden, Prongers Raiden Customized. Each model kit is priced and has a release date, with some already available. The ad also features a Matrix Graphic Material Collection, which is a setting document collection in 3 volumes, each priced and seemingly related to different Virtual On mecha types, with volume names including TEMJIN, Sipar, and Raiden. This page from Dreamcast Magazine showcases the top 10 best-selling Dreamcast games. Number 1 is J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru, a soccer management simulation where players aim to build the best J-League team. Second place is Black Matrix Advent, a simulation RPG that emphasizes character customization and challenging gameplay. Third is Atsumare Guru Guru Onsen, a party game set in a hot springs resort, focusing on network play and affordable fun. Fourth is Marionette Company, an adventure game with numerous events and CG collectibles. In fifth place is the fighting game Soul Calibur, praised for its diverse single-player modes. Sixth is Professional Baseball Team Votsukuru, another management simulation, this time for baseball, teasing collaboration with another game in December. Seventh is Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story 0079, Rise from the Ashes, a Gundam simulator promising immersive Gundam battles. Number 8 is Sonic Adventure International, the global version allowing worldwide competition and aimed at new players. Ninth is Climax Landers, known internationally as Time Stalkers, an RPG receiving positive player reviews and encouraging potential buyers. Finally, in 10th place is New Japan Pro Wrestling 2-Kon Retsuden 4, a pro wrestling game recommended for fans, featuring online battles and long-term playability. This page showcases the anticipated titles' top 30 ranking for Dreamcast games, voted for by readers. At number 1 is Shenmue, followed by Grandia 2 at number 2, and Biohazard Code, Veronica, known internationally as Resident Evil Code, Veronica, at number 3. The page highlights weekly pickup games, featuring Sega GT Homologation Special, a racing simulator, and Sakura Wars 3, Paris Burning, an adventure title. Screenshots are shown for Shenmue, Grandia 2, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Sega GT Homologation Special, Sakura Wars 3, Innocent Tears, and Space Channel 5. The top 3 ranked games have text descriptions, along with the weekly pickup titles, offering further details and expressing excitement for their releases. The ranking table lists 30 games with their rank, points, developer, and release date information. This page features 2 game rankings and highlights 2 games. The first ranking is Reader's Choice, Most Wanted Migration Titles TOP 20, listing games fans want to see ported to the Dreamcast. Top titles include Dead or Alive 2, Knights, and Fighting Vipers 2. His second ranking is Video Game Income Ranking Top 15, listing the highest earning arcade games. Top titles include Virtua Striker 2 Ver 2000 and Virtua Fighter 3 TB. The weekly pickup section highlights Virtua Striker 2 Vir 2000, noting its popularity as the #1 soccer game, and mentioning DC version latest news. The text discusses its popularity as a soccer game, and the anticipation for the Dreamcast version. The other highlighted section is for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future, promoting it as a new title and new JoJo. It mentions new characters and power-ups in this version, encouraging players to play it in game centers or wait for the Dreamcast release to practice at home for winter. This document outlines the release schedule for Dreamcast and Saturn games and peripherals, primarily from late 1999 through 2000. November 1999 saw a flurry of Dreamcast game releases, including Gigawing, Choo Choo Rocket, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. December 1999 added titles like Jet Set Radio, Space Channel 5, and Dino Shokutaku 2. Several titles were slated for 2000, with specific release periods planned for Godzilla Generations, Grandia 2, and Eternal Arcadia. Multiple games, including Shenmue Chapter 1, Yokosuka, and sports titles like NFL 2K, had undetermined release dates. Hardware releases included the ASC2 Pad FT in November 1999 and the Twin Stick in December, with other accessories like the zip drive and mic device having undefined release dates. For the Saturn, Monster Maker was planned for release within 1999. Dreamcast Magazine's Race 39 presents reader-ranked Dreamcast games, with Soul Calibur taking the top spot. The top 5 includes J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru, Sega 2, Sonic Adventure, and The House of the Dead 2. Other popular titles are also listed. Page. The page highlights reviews for 2 games. Dancing Blade Kate ni Momotenshi, Tears of Eden Kanzenban, debuts at 68th, praised for its story and improved endings, though some found updates minimal. Atsumare, good. Guru Guru Onsen, at 16th, is lauded for character creation and engaging online multiplayer, particularly its stress-free chat system and deep communication. The magazine anticipates significant ranking shifts with upcoming Dreamcast releases and encourages readers to anticipate those changes. This page showcases the Oz All Dreamcast Software Best 100 rankings, highlighting popular games for the Dreamcast. The page features 3 detailed game reviews within sections titled Honmei Uma Shukai and Taiku Uma Shukai. The top-ranked game review is for J-League Pro Soccer Club Wotsukuru, a soccer management simulation game. The review suggests it captures the feeling of managing a J-League club, improving upon previous versions with enhanced graphics and deeper gameplay. It's praised for being engaging and allowing players to enjoy the game for extended periods. The next review focuses on Black Matrix A/D, an RPG. The reviewer notes significant improvements over the Saturn version, especially in terms of gameplay and user-friendliness. It's described as a polished and enjoyable game with a captivating story and appealing character designs. The final review is for Maboroshi Tsukiyo, an adventure game. While acknowledging the beautiful graphics and character designs, the review mentions it might appear somewhat understated visually compared to other Dreamcast titles. However, the reviewer still finds it to be a relaxing and enjoyable experience, highlighting the well-written scenario. At the bottom of the page, there is a section showcasing Launch Soon, Recent Ranking Forecasted Software, listing upcoming titles expected to perform well in future rankings. This game preview page features Dreamcast game reviews and news. Sonic Adventure International, an action game from Sega, is praised for its improved camera and character visibility, despite some initial awkwardness with the English voice acting. Peripheral sales rankings and player comments on titles like Concept and Dino Shokutaku 2 are also included. A reader contest encourages predictions for game rankings, focusing on Langrisser Millennium this week. Reviewed games include Purasu Purasu Mu, a puzzle game that's challenging but features cute characters, and Marionette Company, an adventure game with an intriguing interaction system, but hampered by poor explanations and long load times. Finally, Yumeba Ken 99 Internet, a horse racing analysis game, is highlighted for its data-driven approach and affordable price, though it might be overwhelming for newcomers. A prize draw is announced, and the Langrisser Millennium prediction poll continues, with mentions of other games like Suku Kihei Vodums, Blue Knight Berserga Story 2. This page is a review section for Dreamcast games. It features reviews for 2 titles, Space Griffin and Langrisser Millennium. Space Griffin is described as a 3D exploration robot shooting game, a refined version of a PlayStation title with improved graphics and animations. Reviewers found the 3D map easy to understand and the concept of transforming mecha interesting, especially the gliding feeling. However, some felt the gameplay was a bit flat, with an SF suspense story that starts well, but loses momentum. Navigating the levels was highlighted as stress-free, and reviewers gave it scores of 6 and 7 out of 10. Langrisser Millennium, a simulation RPG, is noted as having a free scenario system and real-time elements with 5 main characters. Reviewers mentioned the Milky presentation and compared its system to Sega Saturn's Dragon Force. Operation was considered smooth, and the game was described as easy to pick up and play. However, some found the command cursor movement slow, and the initial stages somewhat tedious until you get used to the controls. Reviewers gave it scores of 7 and 6.66 out of 10. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Suku no Kibahe Space Griffon, also known as Blue Steel Variable Formula Space Griffon in English. The game is a 3D action shooting title emphasizing dramatic storytelling and action-packed shooting gameplay. It's set for release on November 3, 1999, with a standard price of 5,800 yen before tax. The advertisement mentions the story is set in the year 2148 October. It describes a situation where the largest artificial moon-based construction, Hamlet, has gone silent and communication is lost. To investigate, the megacorporation Amax Factories dispatches its private armed force, Amax Cleaner. The protagonist is part of this force. Witnessing a giant shadow amidst the silent and cold landscape, realizing it is about to awaken. The page also lists the cast, including voice actors for characters like Jim, Mary, Conrad, Lawson, Maria, Smiley, Oleg, Francis, and others, indicating a story-driven game with voice acting. The bottom right corner includes company information for Panther Software, their website, and a mention of being Y2K compliant in preparation for the year 2000. This page is a special feature in Dreamcast Magazine Issue 2, focusing on the Sakura Project 2000, which is revealed to be Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning? It delves into the presentation event for the game, offering an in-depth look. The feature highlights the Paris setting and the theater, Les Chats Noirs, the Black Cats, described as the Paris Flower Division's base of operations. It's mentioned that the members usually perform song and dance review shows, but this serves as camouflage for their true missions. The page contains comments from the presentation event attendees, focusing on the excitement surrounding Sakura Wars 3 and the Dreamcast. Attendees express their anticipation for the new game and the Dreamcast's capabilities in bringing the Sakura Wars world to life. The text also mentions that Sakura Wars 3 is planned for release in autumn 2000 and emphasizes that it is a key title in the Sakura Project 2000. It was mentioned that Dreamcast was chosen as Machine of the Year by a magazine, referencing the power of the Dreamcast. The article promises to reveal more about Sakura Wars 3 in upcoming pages and encourages readers to look forward to it. It also mentions that limited edition items distributed and sold at the Sakura Project 2000 presentation will be given away as prizes. This page is a detailed check of a 4-minute movie revealed at a presentation for Sakura Wars 3. It highlights key scenes and characters from the movie. The characters featured and described are Glycese Bloomer, depicted as a Viking descendant; Kokuriko, a member of a traveling circus with a cheerful demeanor; Kitaoji Hanabi, a kind and determined character; Erica Fontaine, a devout sister; Lobelia Carlini, shown playing with a telescope; and Ogami Ichiro, arriving in Paris by steam train. The article also includes a section discussing the development of the Sakura Wars series and the upcoming release of Sakura Wars 3 on Dreamcast, following the success of Sakura Wars 2 and the first game. The developers talk about the game being set in Paris and aiming for a fusion of animation and CG, with a focus on bringing characters to life within the game world and exploring the relationship between Ogami and the new Paris Flower Troupe. They also mention the Dreamcast's capabilities and the goal to release Sakura Wars 3 in the coming year, with a hint towards a summer vacation theme for the Imperial Flower Troupe. This page is a preview for Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning, My Lady? The next installment in the Sakura Wars series, showcasing detailed character visuals. It highlights the return of Okagami and introduces new characters like Erica Fontaine and Glycine Bloomer, part of the Flower Troupe. The article discusses the setting of the game, which moves to Paris, and questions Ohilegami's reasons for going to France. An interview segment with Fujishima and Hiroi is included, where they talk about the character design process for the new game and mention the effort and iteration involved in creating the characters, particularly Erika's costume design. They encourage players to embrace the new characters and setting of Sakura Wars 3. This page showcases characters Roberia, Kokuriko, and Kitauji Hanabi from the Sakura Taisen series, emphasizing their expressions. The page includes scenic shots of Paris, hinting at the game's setting. An interview section reveals that Sakura Taisen 3 will have a brand new opening song, different from the classic Giki Imperial Assault Troop. The interview touches on the music creation process and character aspects within the game. This page is a preview for Sakura Wars 3 Is Paris Burning for the Dreamcast. It announces the Paris version Thunderbolts, which is the Kuboof, a new steam-powered mech that is said to resemble the Thunderbolts from previous games, but with a retro-futuristic design. The page highlights the Kubu F's fast movement capabilities, stating it moves at incredible speed and creates piles of rubble in its wake, suggesting dynamic environments. There's an interview section where the developers express their desire to betray player expectations in a good way, with a new seamless adventure system. This system aims to create a seamless transition from movies to conversations to gameplay, eliminating loading times and enhancing immersion. They mention that the graphics and gameplay feel will change smoothly within the game. 2 new features are detailed: analog lips and portable kinematron. Analog lips allows players to express the intensity of character emotions using the analog stick, influencing character reactions in the game. Portable kinematron is presented as a communication device for use in emergencies and in everyday life within the game. For example, during dates. It seems to be a system that allows communication with other characters and receive information in different situations throughout the game. The page also mentions Drama Download Service and Internet Battle Service as online features for Sakura Wars 3, suggesting downloadable content and online play. This page is dedicated to providing an in-depth look at the upcoming Sakura Wars GB, tentative title, for the Game Boy Color, directly from Media Factory. The article features an interview with Bamboo Takeuchi from Media Factory's Promotion Planning Department, discussing the game's development and content. Sakura Wars GB is described as an adventure game utilizing the LIP system, aiming to bring the Sakura Wars world to the Game Boy Color. Screenshots showcase ADV conversation scenes and scenes within the Great Imperial Theater, reflecting familiar locations from the Sakura Wars series. Key details revealed in the interview include that the game is being developed by Media Factory, targeting a broad audience including younger players, while retaining core Sakura Wars elements. Red Company is handling the story and scenario. The game is in development, with screenshots already released. The protagonist in the Game Boy version is not Ogami, but the player themselves, taking on the role of a trainee. The developers aim for a light and enjoyable experience, and are considering incorporating Game Boy Color's infrared communication capabilities. Additionally, the page announces a Dreamcast Magazine Readers Present campaign, offering Sakura Wars 2000 Project Limited Edition prizes, including telephone cards and straps, to lucky readers. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Sega GT Homologation Special. The article explains the meaning of GT as Gran Turismo, or ground touring, referring to high-performance cars suitable for long-distance driving. The game is described as a race simulator and the culmination of Sega's home driving game development. It's highlighted as a killer soft, set to be released this winter, and is designed as a realistic race simulator, focused on car physics. The preview mentions features such as support for 12 players, racing controllers, force feedback, communication capabilities, and VGA output. Screenshots show in-game racing action featuring different cars and track views. This page is focused on Sega GT Homologation Special, emphasizing its realistic physics simulation and the wide variety of cars included, from current models to older iconic vehicles, numbering over 100 in total, all appearing with their real names. The article highlights the game's attention to detail in simulating car handling based on drive type, weight balance, body rigidity, and suspension. It mentions that car modeling is extremely precise, down to millimeter accuracy, recreating the real-world forms of the vehicles. The page shows screenshots of various cars featured in the game, including the Toyota MRS, Suzuki Cappuccino, Honda S2000, Mazda RX-7 Type R, Daihatsu Opti-Bex, Castrol TOM Supra, BP Apex Craft Trueno, Cusco Subaru Impreza, Pennzoil Nismo GTR, and Castrol Mugen NSX. It mentions that the game supports a wide range of vehicles from sports cars to K cars, and will include cars from the JGTC, All Japan GT Championship. The article states that around 8 JGTC machines will be in the game, representing popular categories like GT 500, with cars like Supra, R34 GTR, NSX, McLaren F1 GTR, Diablo, and GT 300 classes, with cars like Silvia, Celica, MR2, AE86, RX7. The text also suggests that the game's modeling accuracy is top class compared to other games. This page previews the upcoming racing game Sega GT for the Dreamcast. The article highlights that the game will feature entirely original courses designed for exciting battles, rather than replicating real-world circuits. The courses promise varied environments like cityscapes, mountains, and deserts, with detailed backgrounds and immersive elements like tunnel acoustics. Screenshots showcase in-game racing with different cars and course types. The page also includes an interview with Sega GT director Takeshi Nimura and chief director Hideshi Tatsuno. They explain that the title Sega GT was chosen not solely to rival Gran Turismo, but to represent the game's focus on GT racing. They emphasize that Sega GT was conceived as a simulator from the outset, drawing inspiration from games like Gran Turismo 2. The developers aim to deliver a racing experience centered on intense car battles and the thrill of competing in GT championships. The interview reveals that the game's development started around 2 years prior to this article, as part of Sega's broader strategy for racing games. The next page details Sega GT Homologation Special for the Dreamcast, outlining the 4 game modes: Championship, Single Race, Time Attack, and Dual Race. The Championship mode is described as the main mode where players start in E-Class with low displacement cars and progress to SA Class. It mentions earning prize money and sponsorships to upgrade cars. The Single Race mode is for quickly enjoying races with pre-selected cars, including work cars and GT cars, with adjustable difficulty based on car classes. The page also covers other modes, including communication-based battles, and a My Garage mode for car customization and information. An interview section discusses aspects of the game, revealing that there are hundreds of car types planned for the final version. They are using real-world sampling for engine sounds and aiming for high graphical fidelity. The courses are designed to be enjoyable as game layouts, not necessarily real-world circuits. The developers mentioned consulting with GT Association to accurately represent GT cars and performance in the game, highlighting the detailed simulation aspects like collision calculations and physics. They aim to cater to both casual players and hardcore car enthusiasts with deep customization options. They also hinted a large number of courses being planned and the unique visual presentation of the Dreamcast version. This page details the machine tuning and setting and replay booth features of an upcoming racing game, which from the screenshots and text we can see is Sega GT. The machine tuning and setting section describes the deep customization available, including engine, drivetrain, suspension, brakes, tires/wheels, and weight reduction, suggesting a very detailed level of car setup. The replay booth section highlights the advanced replay functionality, emphasizing features for viewing and editing replays from various angles. The page also includes an interview with a creator, discussing topics such as network features, release timing, analog controller support, and the inclusion of a handbrake. The creator expresses a desire to make a racing simulator that truly conveys the fun of driving, and to establish Sega as a leading brand in racing games. This feature explores the Resident Evil series, focusing on Code, Veronica, and Resident Evil 2 Value Plus. It emphasizes the strong narrative link between Resident Evil 2 and Code, Veronica, both starring Claire Redfield. The article details the upcoming release of Code, Veronica for Dreamcast, set for February 3, 2000, with a price of 6,800 yen. It's a survival horror game for one player. The article also covers the announcement of Resident Evil 2 Value Plus for Dreamcast, releasing December 23, 1999, for 4,800 yen. This version includes a trial of Code, Veronica, and a soundtrack compilation. The text briefly touches upon previous entries: the original Resident Evil, featuring Chris Redfield; Resident Evil 2, occurring after the mansion incident, with Claire and Leon; and Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, overlapping with Resident Evil 2. Screenshots showcase gameplay. Biohazard Code, Veronica, also known as Resident Evil Code, Veronica, features Claire and Chris Redfield as protagonists, with Chris eventually taking the lead. The game focuses on Claire's search for her brother. New creatures include bats, varied zombies, fast zombie dogs capable of arm bites, and hunters with aerial attacks. The Q&A with Capcom about the Dreamcast version reveals that Biohazard 1 wasn't mentioned because it wasn't on Sega hardware. Some changes from previous versions of Biohazard 2 were under consideration. The trial version content differs slightly from the Tokyo Game Show 99 demo. The attached demo showcases the opening of the game with approximately 30 minutes of gameplay. This guide focuses on Biohazard Code Veronica, Resident Evil Code Veronica, for the Dreamcast. The game retains familiar controls, including aiming with the R trigger. New features include a 180-degree turn. Classic elements like item boxes, typewriters, and herb combining are present. The game introduces new weapons, like the assault rifle. Enhanced lighting and full polygon camera work showcase the Dreamcast's graphics. A new prison security system with hunter encounters is also highlighted. Chris Redfield is a playable character. The story is a direct sequel to Biohazard 2, with Claire as the primary protagonist. The game promises thrilling moments with the siblings as main characters. This page is all about Biohazard 2 Value Plus for the Dreamcast, highlighting what makes it a great deal. The article explains the game's story, set in Raccoon City after the T-virus outbreak, where Claire is searching for her brother Chris and rookie cop Leon arrives. It emphasizes the zapping system, where Leon and Claire's scenarios are intertwined, meaning actions in one story affect the other. The article points out that many important characters from the Biohazard series appear, including Claire, Leon, Sherry, Ada, Annette, and the Tyrant. It lists key value points of this Dreamcast version. It supports VGA output for sharper visuals, includes a demo version of the eagerly awaited Code Veronica, features a sound selection and drama album, and all this is offered at a low price of 4,800 yen. A track list of included music is also provided. Finally, it mentions that Biohazard 2 was originally planned for the Sega Saturn, but after delays it is now coming to Dreamcast, with producer Mikami commenting on this shift from Saturn to Dreamcast. This page is dedicated to Space Channel 5. It announces that the release date is finally set, and development is progressing smoothly. This winter's killer title, Space Channel 5, is presented as a highly anticipated game. The page describes it as a music game, where you become a reporter and convey the situation through sound and video. It aims to explain the atmosphere and fun of Space Channel 5, particularly focusing on the detailed systems. The page also mentions the official Space Channel 5 homepage is now open. It notes that the homepage is different from other Sega game homepages, especially in the speed of event updates, encouraging readers to check it out. The game is set for release on December 16th and will cost 5,800 yen. It is a single-player music game compatible with VGA. This page details the gameplay system of Space Channel 5. It explains that the core gameplay involves dance battles against Moro aliens. The heart gauge represents Ura's life and decreases upon taking damage. Shikoritsu, which translates to viewer ratings, acts like a score and increases by rescuing hostages and performing well. The page describes the battle flow as turn-based, starting with the Moro aliens' turn, where they perform dance moves for about 12 measures. The player, as Ura, needs to memorize these moves and then respond in their turn by inputting the correct button combinations, which are up, down, left, right, and chew, a button. Matching the aliens' dance allows Ura to attack. The page uses screenshots to illustrate the gameplay, showing the heart gauge, viewer ratings, Moro aliens performing moves, and Ura mirroring them with button prompts displayed. The controls are explained to involve directional buttons and the A button to match the Moro aliens' actions. It emphasizes that there are no on-screen prompts during gameplay to guide the player, so memorizing the aliens' actions based on sight and sound is crucial. This page details the shooting battle mode in Space Channel 5, explaining two distinct scenarios. For Morolian battles, players use the A button to defeat enemies. Conversely, in Earthling battles, players must use the B button to rescue Earthlings. Rescuing Earthlings successfully significantly increases the player's tension and gains the producer's praise, with rescued Earthlings joining in the dance. However, failing to rescue Earthlings leads to a sharp drop in tension and producer criticism. The page also features a section titled TGS and Shibuya Para, Twofold Confidence. This section includes comments from Tetsuya Mizuguchi, the Space Department chief at Soft 9 R&D. Mizuguchi expresses confidence in the game, stating it was well received at the Tokyo Game Show and Game Paradise in Shibuya, with positive feedback suggesting it will be a hit. The page also includes images from the Tokyo Game Show, showcasing the Space Channel 5 booth and gameplay demos. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Innocent Tears, a simulation RPG from Global A Entertainment, slated for release in spring 2000 in Japan. The game focuses on a holy war between angels and fallen angels. Featured is the protagonist, Akira Kagura, the 15-year-old younger brother of Haruaki Kagura. Akira is described as logical and just, joining his brother to fight against a conspiracy involving an angel. The preview highlights the character design work of Hiroyuki Utatane and notes the game is 50% complete at this stage. This page introduces a game called Innocent Tears, described as a new global entertainment entry strategy simulation RPG. It is the first installment in a series. The game features character designs by Hiroyuki Utatane. The game is set in Tokyo, which has been destroyed. The theme is described as Angel versus Fallen Angel. The game focuses on simulation RPG gameplay with deformed character displays and battle. Character introductions include a lonely Kugami, a lonely 11-year-old girl who is friends with Saki. She is possessive of Saki Yoshino. An 11-year-old girl, a friendly only daughter who is close to her cousin Itsuki. She is described as kind, but sometimes mischievous, due to her strong personality. The text also hints at the storyline, mentioning a boy named Kami Rakuaki, a fallen angel in human form searching for his lost angel lover in the ruined streets of Tokyo. He is destined to confront evil and fight against angels. This page highlights the Dreamcast game Innocent Tears, a turn-based battle strategy game where you confront conspiracies in a ruined metropolis. The page introduces key characters: Maki Tachibana, Yumi Misagi, Shiro Kaga, Yohanesu Kamizumi, and Kira Takastukasa, showcasing their character designs. The game's battle system is described as turn-based, focusing on strategic combat with a small number of units rather than large armies. It emphasizes strategic depth through features like utilizing buildings for cover and vantage points, employing long-range attacks with bows and magic, gradually increasing the number of allies as the game progresses, and allowing players to equip up to 8 items to enhance their characters and defenses. This system encourages tactical play and resource management in battles. This page is about the game Innocent Tears. It details the 3D modeling process, emphasizing the respect for the original artist Utatane's style. The page presents characters categorized as angels and 10 heroes, featuring Sara Kuju, Miki Tachibana, Yukiko Kaga, Kazutoshi Taira, and Claude. It also includes in-game screenshots and poses the question, what is at the end of the battle? This page is a Dreamcast preview for Nobunaga's Ambition, Reputin, a historical simulation game. The page highlights that this popular series is finally coming to Dreamcast. It emphasizes exclusive content for the Dreamcast version, featuring 2 additional original scenarios, bringing the total to 7. These scenarios include key historical events, like the Nobunaga inheritance, starting in 1551, the Battle of Okehazama in 1560, and the Hanaji incident in 1582. The Dreamcast version uniquely includes the Battle of Tatoragawa scenario amongst console releases. Screenshots display in-game graphics including character portraits and large-scale battle scenes. The game is scheduled for release on December 16th, with a price of 9,800 yen, published by Koei. The next page is focused on Nobunaga's Ambition, Reputin, showcasing how battles dynamically change based on their scale. It outlines 3 battle sizes: small, medium, and large, each with varying battlefield complexity and strategic elements. Small battles focus on troop strength, medium introduces formations and terrain, and large-scale battles involve command ranges for commanders. The page also highlights naval battles and siege battles as distinct scenarios with unique gameplay. New game mechanics are detailed: Prestige, which represents a daimyo's power affecting diplomacy and loyalty, and Oppression, representing military pressure on other clans to facilitate diplomacy. Finally, the page mentions the Army Unit system, where battles involve managing entire units, and it spotlights a robust tutorial mode centered around the Imagawa clan, designed to be beginner-friendly and engaging. D2, an 80% complete action RPG by Warp, is scheduled for a December 23rd release on Dreamcast, priced at 6,800 yen. The single-player game spans 4 GD-ROM discs and supports vibration packs. The game's glossary offers insightful information. Monster defines transformed passengers from a plane crash, now plant-like beings with green blood. Player character profiles include Laura Parton, located near Ruff's Lookout, and Kimberly Fox, a 33-year-old New Yorker who rescued Laura and was also on the plane. The 8 Days section explains Laura's survival after the crash. The color of blood highlights that monsters have green blood, a key identifier, but emphasizes caution. This page for D's Dinner Table 2 is showcasing subscreens of the game. The first section, Mining Industry, describes a mine operated by Tyrell Company in northwest Canada, focused on extracting gold and other minerals, with an image showing a character near a mine entrance. The airplane section details a crashed Pra Air airplane carrying Laura in the Canadian sky, near a mountain cottage. The image depicts a snowy mountain area with a plane crash scene. The Canada section provides background information about Canada as a northern country in North America, known for its nature and cold northern regions, linking to the plane crash incident involving Laura. The image is of a snowy Canadian landscape. Finally, the radio section describes a radio cassette player with recording functionality, found in a stone cottage, designed for extreme cold by SU GAM Company, model SR14M10. The image shows a keypad device, possibly related to input for the radio or game. The bottom of the page features a building with the sign Brenner Pharmaceuticals Inc., suggesting a location or organization relevant to the game's narrative. All of these elements point to the game D2 on Dreamcast, with its snowy Canadian setting and mystery themes. This page details the camera function and hunting achievements in a Dreamcast game, showcasing how players can use an in-game camera. It explains that by accessing the item list and selecting the camera, players can enter a viewfinder mode with zoom capabilities to take photos. These photos are automatically saved to the visual memory and can be viewed later, even with added comments and titles through a software keyboard. The article suggests players can use this feature for in-game note-taking or creating photo albums of scenic views or Jenny photos. It highlights the photo management system accessed via the Hunting Results and Photos menu, allowing players to load and view saved photos, which are initially alphabetized and can display comments when highlighted. The screenshots show in-game menus and landscapes, with character Laura Parton in the scene, illustrating the camera feature in action within what is very likely Blue Stinger. This page is from D no Shokutaku 2, focusing on the hunting aspect of the game D2. It details how hunting works, explaining that players can hunt animals in the field, and the hunted meat becomes a valuable recovery item. The game starts with a training task to hunt 3 rabbits to teach the player hunting mechanics. The page shows screenshots of the hunting results screen, which records the player's performance, hunter rank, and the quality of meat obtained. It explains that the hunter rank changes based on hunting content, and titles like Caribou Killer and Great Hunter can be earned. The number of animals hunted and meat quality are also detailed, indicating that higher numbers and better quality meat are signs of a skilled hunter. Emblems are also mentioned as decorations obtained through hunting. There is also a Fast Report section announcing the D2 Party Live 19,992,000 event, a music event related to D2 on Christmas night, December 25th to 26th, 1999, at Tokyo Bay NK Hall. The performers include Mike Van Dyke, Toby, plus Andrea Parker / Spooky with Art, and Lindsay / Hardfloor / Ibizo / Kenji Ino. The event is for celebrating the music of D2 and will feature new remixes. The D no Shokutaku 2 image album Sketches 2 soundtrack is also highlighted as something to check out at the event. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast RPG Eternal Arcadia, known internationally as Skies of Arcadia. The page showcases the game's world, with images of fantastical airships sailing through the clouds. It highlights this as a Dreamcast special report and lists key features like it being a Sega RPG with an unannounced release date, price, and peripheral compatibility for one player. The text describes the vast sky where unimaginable beings live, with giant shadows floating in the clouds and colossal whales appearing in ancient legends, now making their presence known. The next page focuses on Eternal Arcadia, known internationally as Skies of Arcadia, exploring the legend of the giant creature Mobius. It speaks of Mobius as a mythical being, either a monster or a god, revered and feared by sailors who traverse the vast skies. Legends across various nations mention encounters and sightings of this colossal sky whale, suggesting its ancient and continuous existence. The page also showcases airships, described as sky battleships, pursuing Mobius. One airship, though not particularly large, is heavily armed and features a unique triangular sail configuration, prompting the question of its true purpose in chasing this legendary beast. The page includes images of Mobius itself and detailed renders of the airships. This page talks about the game Drachma and introduces an old sailor character named Drachma. He is relentlessly pursuing the legendary giant creature Mobius, driven by revenge after losing an eye and an arm to it. The text mentions that the main characters, called Vitiz and others, will encounter Drachma during their adventure. Drachma is described as stubborn and uncooperative, but it hints at reasons why Visly and his companions might need his help to defeat Mobius. There are screenshots showcasing gameplay and character portraits, focusing on Drachma and his motivations. The page explores the question of how Drachma, despite his difficult personality, might become an ally to the main characters in their quest. This page is about the game Eternal Arcadia, known internationally as Skies of Arcadia. It introduces the character Drachma, who lost an eye and arm to Mobius, and now uses a versatile prosthetic arm called Steel Gauntlet in combat. The page details Drachma's attack methods. Direct attack involves brute force using the arm's weight. Indirect attack uses the arm to launch projectiles, and critical attack seems to utilize a jet propulsion system for a powerful blow. The page also features Drachma's ship, the Little Jack, described as an older model but highly capable in battle, featuring unique triangular sails and a large ram at the bow. The text emphasizes the Little Jack's impressive fighting ability, despite its age. This page previews the game Evolution, Far Off Promise, known in Japan as. It introduces a new character named Yurka, a mysterious, beautiful boy who is interested in Linear and tries to approach her, behaving in a way that is not considered normal for ordinary people. The page highlights the prologue of the game, focusing on Linear awakening a hidden power called Evolution. The story mentions large bird-like creatures and hints at the game's mysterious narrative. Screenshots show in-game combat and character portraits, and also show Yurka in a distinctive outfit. Key points discussed are the past battles of the 8th Imperial Army, the mystery of Evolution, and the appearance of giant bird-like beings. This page previews Evolution 2, Far Off Promise, known in Japan as Kishin Sekai Evolution 2, highlighting the relationships between characters in the game. A relationship diagram shows connections between characters like Mag, Linnea, Pepper, Gree, and Chain. The Societe organization is introduced, focusing on archaeological research, and it presents the characters Whitehead and Nina, who are part of this group. The page also introduces the Red Monkey Bandit group, led by the new character Kalkar, who aims to steal treasures from Societe. A check section looks at the Cyframe's arm and its attack capabilities in battle. Evolution 2 is set for release in December 1999, priced at 6,800 yen, as an adventure RPG for one player, supporting visuals and rumble features. Screenshots show in-game scenes with characters and environments, depicting events and gameplay. The next page previews a Dreamcast game featuring the character Mag. The game seems to start with a hectic departure, as Mag is running late for a train and barely manages to jump on board. The page highlights the improved character expressions, noting how they react to situations. There is a plot point about a forgotten item that Mag needs to retrieve, described as a secret item. Another scene, scene number 2 Invitation, introduces a character named Nina, an employee of Societe. Nina seems to be welcoming Mag and informing him that he was chosen as the adventurer of Panem Town, but she also scolds him for being late and lacking awareness of his role. There's a hint of a secret plan being developed by Societe that Nina is unaware of, adding to the mystery of Mag's adventure. This page introduces scenes from the game Evolution 2, Far Off Promise. Scene 3, titled Chain Gun, reveals an alarm sounding on the train. Mag investigates and encounters Chain, who declares himself Mag's rival and insists on joining Mag. Nina explains the siren is for intruders on the train. A section highlights the 360-degree panoramic view inside the train in Evolution 2, and the unique sub-characters within the game, noting that Mag and Chain have a rivalrous relationship, like dogs and monkeys. Scene 4, Emergency, describes how Mag initially thought Chain was the cause of the alarm, but this is quickly proven wrong, as a violent earthquake shakes the train, causing a fire on the roof. The train slows and stops, and 3 shadows appear before Mag. Chain points out that the siren was already sounding before he arrived, while Gree seems to think Chain was still the cause of the siren. The page includes screenshots of these scenes and an image of the burning train, with Mag looking surprised. This page showcases a preview of the Dreamcast game Elemental Gimmick Gear, also known as EGG. The page introduces a new character named Karkaro, a bandit boss. The article highlights that Karkaro is encountered early in the game and is a significant boss character. It describes a battle against Karkaro and his 2 henchmen, emphasizing that this fight serves as a tutorial for new RPG players to grasp the game's mechanics. The preview mentions that Psyframe techniques are not used in this battle, and that Karkaro attacks directly. It also hints at special moves and the importance of character combinations in battle later in the game, suggesting that Chain and Pepper will join the party and unlock new special techniques. The page includes screenshots of battles showing the user interface, character portraits, and in-game action. It mentions using talk to engage with enemies and potentially force them out of battle, demonstrating a gameplay mechanic. This page is about scene number 6, Burglary, from Grandia 2. Subtitled, The Stolen Treasure of the Prehistoric Civilization. It describes a scene where the main character, Mag, and his companions are on a train. They initially pursue thieves but are tricked, and a valuable appraisal item is stolen. This item is described as a treasure from a prehistoric civilization and seems important. The page highlights the gameplay within the train, showing battles breaking out inside the carriages. It also details 3 key elements and special moves for the characters Mag, Linnea, and Guire. Mag's special moves are Magnum Punch and Concentrate. Linnea's special moves are Quick First Aid and Defense Charm. Guire's special moves are Boost, Lonely Melody, and Yum Yummy Soup. The page also mentions Present and Flatter as skills. Each special move description briefly explains its effect in battle. The scene transitions to the town of Museville after the train sequence. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Maken X. It announces the release date of November 25th, with a price of 6,800 yen. The game is described as an adventure title for 1 player, and it supports VGA output and the Rumble Pack. The article highlights that, while previous information has focused on the overall image of Maken X, this preview will delve into the core content, showcasing new screenshots and focusing on the game's system elements. Screenshots show in-game environments and characters. This page is dedicated to new information about the game Maken X. It is advertising that new details are packed to delve into the core of the story. The game stages are set in Europe, and alongside previously revealed characters like Swordsman Katie, the 5 Great Sealing Knights, and the Hake, are being revealed for the first time. The system section highlights item power-ups in Maken X, where items can boost the Demon Sword's attack power. It also mentions item information related to Brainjack. The characters section introduces the newly revealed Hake, described as boss characters in Maken X. They are presented with comments from the Kaneko illustrator. The stage section emphasizes that the entire world is the stage for the game, expanding from Asia to Europe. It showcases beautiful stages and enemies, questioning what awaits the Demon Sword in Europe. The Other Things section mentions the sound and music of Maken X and announces that the soundtrack will be released as a club music CD 1 month before the game's launch. There will also be record release events that should not be missed. The next page is focused on the Brainjack system in the game Maken X. It explains how brainjacking changes the player's weapon and attacks. When you brainjack a pilot, your sword transforms into a baton. The page highlights the EX gauge, which is absent when brainjacking pilots, meaning special attacks are unavailable in this form, replaced by normal attacks with the baton. It further details how brainjacking different characters like Andre, Faith, and Sharsha will result in different weapon forms and attack styles, suggesting significant gameplay variation based on who you brainjack. The page introduces X items, which boost attack power for a limited time, indicated by an X symbol next to the life gauge. It also talks about image points, which are earned by defeating enemies and finding items. Accumulating image points raises your BJ rank, and higher ranks lead to more image points being awarded. The page emphasizes that the Demon Sword's attack power and playstyle dynamically change based on the character you brainjack. This page details the branching story system in Make an X, where player choices and actions directly change the narrative. The game revolves around conversations and choices that impact the relationship between the protagonist, K, and the demonic sword, Maken. The page highlights that story branches aren't just based on dialogue options, but also on gameplay actions. After clearing a stage, clear symbols appear at 4 points, leading to new destinations on the world map. The example shown is that Moscow becomes available as a destination. A key mechanic discussed is Brainjack, or BJ, which provides further branching. Players will be presented with the option to brainjack enemies. Choosing to BJ or not significantly alters the story's direction. Brainjacking a pilot, for example, changes the viewpoint and visual style of the game, showing Andre's image. The page illustrates a branching path related to a BJ event with pilot Andre. Choosing to BJ Andre in a flying Link Cardon leads to different outcomes than choosing not to BJ, showcasing how gameplay choices directly influence the story progression and destination, possibly leading to Hong Kong or India depending on the player's BJ decisions. This page is about the Dreamcast game Make an X, which is stated to be about a month away from release. It is a character introduction page, focusing on a group called Yato, or 8 trigrams, who are described as sword masters. 6 members of Yato are introduced. Andre, who was in Russian Special Forces and became a killer for the San Industry Group after fleeing to China. Shaja, a 50-year-old Indian superstar singer and master of the flute, who is associated with the San Industry Group for unclear reasons. Daru, a Nobel Prize-winning medical doctor who developed a cure for a contagious disease, but possibly caused it, leading to his disappearance with his wife and daughter. Malukala, a young mafia don controlling drugs, money, and women, with influence in the financial world, whose true identity is a mystery, and desires his own children. Marguerite, described as a wife of a European coalition leader who lived freely but became mentally unstable due to her husband's infidelity and mistrust. Ray, a next-generation Messiah Agency candidate and respected religious leader, who lost faith in God due to a lack of visible salvation despite his devout followers. There is also a comment from Atlas Kaneko Kazuma about Yato, explaining that the Yato designs use symbolic motifs like flowers, water, and trees, with strict rules for each design. These motifs influence the character designs and gameplay aspects, such as attacks and rules. Make an X features the 5 Great Seal Swordsmen, guardians representing the 5 elements. Each swordsman has a unique background and personality. Ramrod, the Frozen Seal Swordsman, is a stoic DJ. Kati, the Flame Seal Swordsman, leads a troop and practices Taoist magic. Asanaces, the Wind Seal Swordsman, is a curator with an Illuminati lineage. Baudelaire, the Earth Seal Swordsman, is a fearless journalist. And Li Faikao, a pure-blooded swordsman, witnesses a demon sword's awakening. The text also includes artist commentary on the concept of seal swordsman and a keyword section defining Tendu Ryusei, the divine will that shaped the world's creation. The text implies the protagonist possesses extensive knowledge of human history. This page is a preview for the game Make an X. It announces the release is just 1 month away and highlights the European stages of the game, following on from the Asian stages previously shown. The locations being showcased are Athens, Amsterdam, Istanbul, Vienna, and Sicily. The Athens section describes the stage as being in Greece, within the Roman Empire, and mentions the beautiful scenery. The Amsterdam section mentions it is the capital of the Netherlands, and features a stage with windmill scenery and swastika banners, suggesting a Nazi influence. The Istanbul section mentions it is where Western and Asian cultures intersect, an exotic town where bizarre enemies attack. The Vienna section talks about a character that was revealed in an illustration a year prior, described as having clockwork mechanisms in their abdomen. The Sicily section, set in Italy, mentions the mafia and gangster films as a theme, and describes a wine cellar stage where battles take place. It also mentions the enemies and the scenery having a dark and gothic feel. This page is focused on the game Make an X, which was later released internationally as Sword of the Berserk, Guts Rage. The page reveals new information about the game's core story and highlights different stages or locations within the game. Sections for Transylvania, Vatican, Lyon, London, and Lisbon are showcased, each with screenshots and descriptions. Transylvania is described as a place where the essence of vampire legends and beautiful old cityscapes create an impressive scene. Vatican is introduced as a famous location with the pontiff's quarters. Lyon is described as a location within the Underground Railway, where early enemies appear frequently. London seems to be a place with underground waterways, where enemies and battles take place. Lisbon is depicted as a town where players will fight using a sword. The descriptions give hints about the environments and enemies encountered in each location, suggesting diverse settings and challenges throughout the game. Additionally, there is an announcement about a Makenshi X sound dance event being held by Avex. This event celebrates the release of the game's soundtrack on a 12-inch analog record in late October. The event includes game demos, performances, and screenings, and is scheduled for November 7th at Velfar in Roppongi from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. as an after-hours party. The entry fee is 2,000 yen, but entry is free for those who come in Makenshi X-related cosplay. This page is a promotional preview for the Dreamcast game, Bangai-O. It's described as a love and courage in all directions, hot-blooded emotional adventure action shooting game in full color, developed by Treasure. The preview highlights the game's chaotic, all-directional shooting gameplay, where players blast away hordes of enemies approaching from all sides. The story setup is presented with dialogue between a child and their father. The child is shocked to find their father attacked by scary people belonging to the SF Kogain Falcon Group. The father admits to underestimating them, but insists taking the risk was necessary to defeat the group. The child, in turn, vows to destroy the enemies to avenge their father. The page emphasizes the intense bullet hell nature of Bangai-O, describing it as a robot versus robot bullet barrage, where both the player's robot, Bangai-O, and the enemies unleash overwhelming amounts of projectiles. It notes that while the story might be strange, it is part of the game's unique appeal. The Special Scoop Report section confirms that Bangai-O is a shooting game from Treasure, scheduled for release in December at a price of 5,800 yen, and is a single-player experience. The game is also stated as being 100% complete at the time of this preview. The next page dives into Bakuretsu Muteki Bangai-O, a shooting game emphasizing destruction and unique gameplay. It introduces the story about two brothers in space yakuza who are getting into trouble. The page is structured in chapters, starting with Chapter 1, Riki, Mayu, Information Broker, MKO Encounter Arc, where the siblings meet MKO, an information broker, after being chased by the Tiger Shark gang. MKO provides gameplay tips, like using the R trigger for the full-range anti-aircraft barrage when in a pinch to escape enemies, which reduces damage. Chapter 2, Destroyable Objects Are Parents? Vibrant Destruction Point Get discusses destroying objects in the stage, even houses, for points. And Chapter 3, Area Boss Tempura Sub-Boss Appearance introduces the stage boss, described as a tempura sub-boss. The boss dialogue and description reveal him to be Yarser V3, a lower-ranking member of the Tiger Shark gang who uses erratic attacks and spreads rest missiles. The game seems to emphasize explosive action and quirky characters. The page also briefly mentions the brothers' fathers, who created the Bangai-O mecha, modifying enemy mecha data. This page is a game guide for Bangai-O. Chapter 4 focuses on various techniques, explaining the all-directional bullet counter, which releases a counterattack based on proximity to enemy bullets and danger level. It also describes two types of shots: Iki mode, which fires homing missiles, and Mama mode, which fires bouncing shots, useful in narrow spaces. Chapter 5 introduces the next boss, revealing it is the same boss character from earlier, much to the protagonist's surprise. Dialogue exchanges between characters Riki, Mama, and the boss are shown. Chapter 6 continues the boss fight scenario with more dialogue. Mama makes a comment about character reuse, suggesting the boss is the same as before. Riki reacts strongly to this. The page also includes a news section announcing that a playable demo of the product version of Stage 1 of Bangioh will be included in the Dream Magazine GD Volume 3 on November 26th. It mentions the game's appeal and invites readers to try the demo. The Here Comes New Characters page for Bangai-O introduces a colorful cast from the SF Tiger Shark Gang, a space yakuza. These include W. Child and Itako, Spy Paiji, a spy robot, several core personalities like Core Beauty, Horror Girl, Core Advance, Samurai, Neko, Cat, and Core Great King, T-Rex. Other characters include Kenji Lawyer, a loophole-exploiting lawyer, Gimnema Visiting Salesman, Harumage Boss, Bride Mask, Suketa Headband, Stevens 16th Class Soldier, Weather Elder Sister, Suffering Student, and Mongo Marisan, a sheep. The cores are explained as energy sources and weak points for mecha. The page is filled with humorous situations, illustrated by cartoon panels. This page is an advertisement for YAG Animation College's Game Creator Department for the April 2000 intake, featuring a dragon image. They offer courses in CG design, game design, character design, and more. Request free information by mail or inquire about their free daily experience program, which includes curriculum and career advice. Contact them for details. Guru Powers features reader submissions, starting with an illustration by Uzumaki Brother and the Dream Square section. Readers discuss recent game purchases like The House of the Dead 2 and anticipated titles such as Zombie Revenge. They mention language learning software and comment on Seaman, including a humorous dream about the game. Another reader shares a connection to Space Channel 5's Ulala. The Uzumaki characters discuss saving money and track game stats. To the World highlights anticipation for Treasure's involvement and references JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This week also famous people of various worlds are reading this magazine. Includes comments from celebrities and congratulates the Giga Wing planting decision game. This page is showcasing a reader submission section called Cathedral of Point Users in Dreamcast Magazine, focusing on pixel art created within the 48 by 32 resolution limitations of the Dreamcast VM. The page is inviting readers to submit their own black and white pixel art creations in BMP format. Featured are examples of reader submissions, including Ichiban Boshi, Risan from Chiba Prefecture with a Star Wars-themed pixel art, Appel from Okinawa Prefecture with a winged character, Mag Launcher from Gifu Prefecture depicting a robot, and Ramos from Fukushima Prefecture showcasing a character named Ramos. The page provides submission guidelines and contact details for sending artwork to SoftBank Publishing. An illustration of a girl with wings is featured alongside the text, likely thematically related to the angel or point user concept. This section highlights fan-submitted illustrations based on the winter sports theme. Featured are 8 illustrations from different prefectures, each showcasing a unique artistic style and chosen theme. These themes range from cute character designs, Sengoku Turb, to depictions of characters from popular manga, anime, and video games like Berserk, Virtual On, Seaman, Soul Calibur, Evolution 2, and Legend of Legaia. One entry features an original character. The descriptions praise the art, atmosphere, and the artist's passion for their chosen subjects. Below the illustrations is a Family Corner Award, with cartoonish drawings of animal-like characters, primarily from Aichi Prefecture, and characters from the Toy Fighter game. The drawings are noted for their cuteness and appeal to children. This page showcases the Guru comic section, a reader submission area known for its darker humor but hoping for brighter manga. There are several reader comic panels, many humorously referencing Shenmue, like, "What's Shenmue?" and featuring Shenmue characters and scenarios in comedic everyday situations. One panel titled, World Number 1 seems to be about games, mentioning Planet Earth game as World Number 1. Another panel is about Guru Hot Springs, possibly referencing a popular game with a hot springs theme. The Reader Corner discusses postcard submissions, particularly for the Real Photo Edition King of Fighters section, and humorously describes King of Fighters characters like Hydern, Ralph, Clark, Leona, and Whip. The page also includes an advice column detailing submission guidelines for illustrations and text, and a reader contribution corner announcing prizes and mentioning the game Black Matrix AD. This page is an advertisement for Dreamcast strategy guides. Firstly, it advertises a strategy guide for J-League Pro Soccer Club O Tsukuru, known internationally as Sega Worldwide Soccer Manager. This guide promises to deliver results from the beginning of the game, essential for owners. It covers system explanations, player development and management advice, J1 and J2 league data, recommended player selections, scout data, and strategies to build the strongest club. It is described as a Bible for Sakatsuku players and is already on sale, priced at 1,200 yen plus tax, a 5 size, and 176 pages. Secondly, it advertises a 120% utilization manual for the online Dreamcast communication game Guru Onsen. This guide is aimed at users playing online games and teaches how to play. describing itself as essential for Guru Guru users. It mentions that Guru Guru Onsen is a full-scale communication battle game where players aim to defeat Atamare Guru Guru Onsen. The book contains fun content and is suitable as an introductory guide to network games. It covers connection methods and chat tips. This manual is scheduled for release in November. Priced at 1,100 yen plus tax, a 5 size, and 96 pages. This page is a humorous column in Dreamcast Magazine, titled Bad Habit, focusing on reader interactions and submissions. It features Nito Hitoshi Generation Secretarial Beauty Natsumi, who introduces herself as taking over writing duties for Nito-sensei. The column is centered around recruiting a boyfriend for Exo Kosen, an anime song karaoke enthusiast, and is filled with reader emails and Natsumi's comedic responses. Dry Mango is a recurring humorous theme within the column. Readers are encouraged to send in emails and handwritten letters with feedback, and the column highlights reader interest in topics like Truegetter and anime karaoke. The feature mentions previous articles about Exo Kosan in Dreamcast Magazine, and the reader responses received after a previous article in Dreamcast Magazine went on sale. With many readers sending in applications to date Exo Kosan via an anime karaoke date, the column includes an email address for reader submissions. This page features several articles and columns. The first section is about the Sega arcade game Touch de Uno. The writer recounts playing it at Jamei Show and later at Shibuya Gi-Gu Arcade. They describe Touch de Uno as a game that diagnoses your right brain ability and how it challenged them. They humorously share their low score and their determination to improve. Another section, titled Sotokonda Game Anthology Volume 21, continues a story about a character named Ken-chan. It depicts a scene where Ken-chan's mother finds him deeply engrossed in a game after he returns late from Akihabara. She turns off the TV, and Ken-chan collapses suddenly, hinting at a dramatic development in the story. Finally, there is a feature called Game Shop, Backside of the Backside, a consideration on the Ultimate Game Part 2. This section explores the idea of an ultimate game through the lens of Ken-chan's gaming habits and his relationship with his mother, suggesting that the line between game stories and reality can blur. In the top right corner, there's a small advertisement for an anime and culture magazine called Haigi, which features Devilman on the cover and covers anime and manga topics. This page is a comic strip called Something Yoshimatsu Theater. The comic humorously depicts aspects of game development and debugging. The first panels show the author reporting on a previous appearance in a simulator game. Later, it shows developers facing issues like processing slowdowns due to excessive polygons when approaching a specific location in the game, symbolized by a candy store. The comic also touches upon game design elements like character collection and the frustrations of release delays, with a Shu character complaining about the delay and demanding fixes. The collection Sega text shown on a screen may reference games focused on collecting characters or items, a popular game mechanic. Overall, it's a lighthearted take on the challenges and quirks of game creation, likely referencing common issues faced during the development of Sega games at the time. This page is an advert for the Japanese Dreamcast game Super Producers. This is a singer training and management simulation game where you nurture singers, create original music, and aim for a network debut in the showbiz world. It includes features for singer development, original sound creation, network debuts, and management simulation, described as a greedy game where you can experience everything a producer does. Released by Hudson on November 11th, priced at 6,800 yen, the game is a network-compatible training simulation and is VGA compatible. The advert also teases the game's premise, focusing on the debut secret story of Ayu Kawahara, where you take on the role of a producer to discover and guide the idol Ayu Kawahara to her debut. This page is about raising an idol singer in a simulation game. It details the process of taking a young woman named Ayu Kawahara and guiding her to stardom as a singer. The page explains the different stages and actions involved in singer development. It starts with auditions and scouting to find a potential singer. Then it goes through the necessary steps for debuts, including makeup and styling, recording songs, releasing CDs, performing live, and checking popularity charts. There's a section focusing on stage costumes, emphasizing that they are expensive and can cost up to 5 million yen, with accessories potentially costing even more. Another section talks about changing the singer's image through haircuts. The page also breaks down the singer's parameters like motivation, charisma, popularity, imagination, looks, dexterity, and balance, explaining what each parameter represents and how it affects the singer's success. It mentions that makeup and styling can change the singer's abilities, and recording sessions will temporarily halt other activities. Overall, this page offers a preview or guide to a Dreamcast game where players take on the role of a producer to nurture and guide a young idol singer to fame. This guide details the process of creating a debut single CD within a music producer simulation game. The key steps include deciding the song's genre based on current trends, selecting a composer, and composing the music through a two-stage process. The guide emphasizes that the song genre's trend influence CD sales, and matching the singer and composer to these trends is vital. The game also presents the financial realities. Manufacturing costs and storage fees exist, and unsold CDs can lead to financial ruin. Therefore, production planning is essential. Players can use an in-game information button to check singers' skill levels, which are increased through song and live performances. And this is a key factor for success. Screenshots are used to give visual context. In this idol-raising simulation game, you manage the career of Kawara Ako. Players guide her through various activities to achieve stardom. Activities include market research at clubs, featuring a DJ minigame, magazine interviews, and commercial appearances that utilize her songs. As popularity grows, larger live venues become available, progressing from halls to stadiums. Players must carefully select venue size, as bigger venues offer greater profit potential, but also higher risks if ticket sales are low. Future goals involve tours of varying sizes. Success in the DJ minigame enhances the idol's abilities, with different music genres in clubs and discos. End-of-year events are mentioned, though this year's events appear to be limited. The next page discusses music arrangement capabilities within a Dreamcast title, allowing players to act as super producers. It details an 8-track recorder feature for composing songs, explaining how to edit tracks in 2 ways: phrase editing and overall track editing. You can adjust elements like volume, reverb, pan, and transpose for each track. Phrase editing allows for detailed manipulation of musical phrases, though melody tracks are limited in this function. The page also covers changing the tone of tracks from a selection of 122 instruments. And finally, naming your completed songs. The screenshots illustrate the in-game interface for these music editing features, showing track layouts, phrase selections, and tone adjustment menus. The text emphasizes the ease of arrangement, even without prior musical knowledge. The next page is all about diving into the online world of Dreamcast with Network to World Chart ni Chosen, which I know as Net de Para Para, although it never left Japan officially. It's basically showing you how to get online and compete in worldwide music charts within the game. First off, it emphasizes getting your Hudson ID and password, essential for accessing Dreamcast online services back then. You'd need to register through the Dream Passport disc by visiting the Hudson homepage. Once you are set up, you can jump into the game's online menu, which has 8 options including World Audition, World Debut, Releasing Singers, Charts, Information, Accessing the homepage, Help, and Cancel. The page details the World Audition, where you scout and sign singers from other players online and get them contracted to your production. Then you can aim for a world debut for your singers and challenge the music charts. The charts are ranked by music genre, with different singer ranks like rookie, middle, and veteran influencing the competition. It also explains that there are 15 different production companies in the game, each with unique characteristics, catering to different music styles and singer types, like female idols or vocal powerhouses, allowing for diverse player strategies. Essentially, it's a guide on how to use the online network features to raise singers, manage a production company, and climb the world music charts in Net de Para Para. This page details the network features of the game Super Producer. It outlines how players can release their singers onto the network, a process where the production company takes over the singer, and you are paid a transfer fee, with higher singer ability leading to a higher fee. It also explains how to get rewards and information from online sessions, detailing 4 types of information available. The page discusses online session play with other players, where you can either host or join sessions, earning rewards and experience if successful. A world chart is mentioned, updated daily, ranking songs from producers worldwide. The page highlights a special website for Super Producer, providing event information and user feedback opportunities. Help and password recovery options are mentioned for players who forget their passwords. And lastly, it notes that you can receive letters from released singers, and that hosting a session requires 20 million in-game currency. This page highlights the LF+R Frying Night radio program, a late-night show airing on Nippon Broadcasting from Monday to Thursday. The personality hosting the program is Akira Higuchi. The page features an interview section called Super Pro Support Squad, where Higuchi discusses his experiences as both a singer and a game producer. He talks about his initial game development capital and CD sales figures, and his experience in nurturing singers. The page also includes a Surface profile section detailing the singles and albums released by Higuchi's band, Surface. The singles listed include Sore Ja Bye Bye, Zenda Dilemma, Sasa, Sono Ki ni Sasanai de Yo, Ame no Haimo Anata wo Omo, and Mo Namida wa Ato Nishiyu. Their album, RAYF, McFace to Surface, is also mentioned. The page also provides details for another radio program on BAYFM, hosted by Higuchi, airing every Wednesday from 10 p.m. to 10:54 p.m. The next page is a column titled Black or Is This Sony? By Fumio Kurokawa, known as the Burning Publicist. This column seems to be a commentary piece discussing Sony's strategies and comparing them to Sega, particularly in the context of the Dreamcast and the evolving game industry. Kurokawa mentions previous columns where he discussed Sony, specifically regarding the PS2 and internal shifts within Sony. He notes reader feedback suggesting Sony's restructuring is harsher than Sega's. He acknowledges this point but argues that from a future perspective, it may not be the case. He anticipates talking about the PS2 in this column, referring to it as PS2, hereinafter PS2. The column discusses Sony's branding, mentioning the Walkman and VAIO, and observes the shift from physical media to network-based content delivery, highlighting Sony's focus on network information distribution and subscription models. He mentions a scenario where users could download favorite idol videos and send them to friends via the network, suggesting a vision of Sony's network services. He also touches on the potential for monthly subscription fees for network services. Kurokawa concludes by promising to continue this column theme in the next issue, titled, This is Sony. This page is an anime feature focusing on the OVA Sol Bianca 2 La Reminiscencia, which is described as a remake of a popular OVA series using the latest technology. The OVA is available on LD, video, and DVD formats, and is priced at 5,800 yen, with each episode running for 30 minutes. Key staff members are listed including director Kazuhiro Furuhashi, screenwriter Hideki Mitsui, character designer Tsukasa Dokite, and voice actors Yuko Mizutani as April, Rei Sakuma as Feb, Sanae Kobayashi as June, Sayagusa Tomoe as Japan, and Konishi Hiroko as Mayo. The page introduces the characters. April, the Sol Bianca leader. February, the oldest crew member in charge of external affairs. June, a computer expert and Sol Bianca operations officer. Japan, skilled in machinery and physical labor. And Mayo, a girl who stows away on the Sol Bianca. This story summary outlines the plot, where April and her crew arrive on a cursed planet called Egla, where no one returns from, only to find a silent city and discover a giant plant called Megaseed. Also featured is an advertisement for DirecTV, offering free viewing fees until the year $2,000, with a receiver purchase, plus a cashback offer. Finally, there is a mention of another title, One Primero el Emblema, with details on its format and pricing. This page details several anime releases and broadcasts. Released on October 22nd were TV animation Kakusei, Director's Cut Volume 2, and Gokudokun Menyuki ACT.4. October 25th saw the release of Seikai no Mansho Volume 5, Eden's Bowie Episode 3, Superdoll Licca-chan Volume 17, Taiho Shikauzo Special Volume 4, Eatman 98 Dream of a Clown, Uchu Kaizoku Mito no Daiboken Volume 6, and Tokyo Movie Anime Theme Song Collection Volume 4 1986 to 1991. Senkaiden Hoshin Engi Volume 3 is scheduled for November 3rd. Legend of the Galactic Heroes will be broadcast on DirecTV Movie from November 9th, 1999 to January 31st, 2000, and a special OVA will be released on December 24th. Finally, the new anime Ima, Soko ni Iru Boku, began airing on WOWOW in October 1999. This page is from the Dreamcast Magazine Cinema Guide, featuring reviews for 3 movies, Dreammaker, Pola X, and Minazuki. Dreammaker is described as a stylish and fresh movie set in the port city of Yokohama, starring ISA from DA Pump and Takako Uehara from Speed. The story focuses on the meeting of a protagonist who loves bikes and music, and a girl who wants to share her late father's records. The review highlights the casting, including notable names like Miyara Shinobu and veteran actors, suggesting a vibrant disco scene and energetic dance performances. Pola X is directed by Leos Carax, known for Lovers on the Bridge, and stars Guillaume Depardieu and Catherine Deneuve. It is based on H. Melville's novel Pierre ou les Ambigues. The movie centers on Pierre, who gives up his wealthy life and fiancée after meeting the mysterious Isabelle, referred to as the Sister, embarking on a journey driven by destiny. The review notes the enigmatic X in the title and the movie's exploration of the ambiguous nature of the characters. Minazuki, directed by Rokuro Mochizuki, is based on a novel by Mankichi Kohata, winner of the 19th Yoshikawa Iji Prize for New Writers. The movie is described as a grand love story about a bridge designer, his wife Sayako, and their intertwined relationships. It portrays complex emotions and mature themes within a romantic context. The review mentions the award-winning source material and the director's previous works, highlighting the mature and realistic portrayal of love. This page showcases book and guidebook releases and rankings in Dreamcast Magazine. First up is the official guidebook for Grauen's Message, a Dreamcast internet mystery drama game. It mentions that this Dreamcast exclusive title is a continuous online drama spanning 365 episodes over a year, accessible via PC or Dreamcast, and this guidebook is a special item for users. Next, there are book reviews for The Bishop Murder Case, a mystery novel, The Shining by Stephen King, Psycho by Robert Bloch, and A Simple Plan by Scott Smith. These appear to be reviews of popular novels, not specifically related to games. Finally, in the newcomer section, we see the official guide for ESPIONAGENTS, a Dreamcast espionage simulation game. This guidebook covers the game where players lead an elite spy team, highlighting its 3D map simulation style. The page also includes a gamebook ranking chart. The top-ranked guidebooks include titles for PlayStation games like Persona 2, Innocent Sin, Resident Evil 3, Last Escape, SD Gundam G Generation Zero, and Wild Arms 2. Also included are art books and light novels, as well as a guide for the Dreamcast game Dreamcast Pro Baseball Team. O Tsukuru, at number 9 in the ranking. This page is titled Art of Autumn, Music of Autumn, and features a musician named Yasuo Koyama, who is described as a game music composer known for series like Grindia, Runa, and Langrisser. The page discusses his musical background, influences, and current work. There's an announcement for a live concert at ONAIR East in Shibuya on November 7th, and information about a CD release. The page also contains an information section, with details on purchasing his CD and visiting his website. A side section called This Week's Secret Snap shows a photo of children at Matsumoto Castle Park. There is also an advertisement for a Yayoi Kusama exhibition at the Matsumoto City Museum of Art. This page is an advertisement for a product celebrating PMODEL's 20th anniversary and Hideaki Hirasawa's 10th solo debut. It is titled P-Model 20th Anniversary Project Music Industry Waste and includes 2 books, P-Model Side Open Source and Hirasawa Side Tabletop Ouroboros, plus a CD-ROM compatible with Windows 95/98 and Macintosh System 8.0. The release is scheduled for late November and priced at 8,000 yen plus tax. This page is an example of how to fill out the reader survey in Dreamcast Magazine. It provides instructions on how to answer the questions, with examples of good and bad answer styles, and lists the different sections of the survey. The survey covers topics such as gender, age, occupation, magazines read, hardware owned, Dreamcast software owned, website ownership, opinions on articles, future software purchases, cover opinions, gift preferences, submission frequency, and desired information. It also includes lists of articles in the current issue, hardware options, and Dreamcast software titles to aid in completing the survey. This page announces a special project from Sonic Team, highlighting their recent arcade game, Samba de Amigo, and the eagerly awaited new series, Phantasy Star Online. The main focus is on Sonic Team's newest game, Choo Choo Rocket, which is described as Sega's hottest title right now and the subject of an upcoming special feature in Dreamcast Magazine. The page showcases Choo Choo Rocket as this week's featured title, describing it as a seemingly simple puzzle game, but one that Sonic Team has infused with deep gameplay, including intense battles for up to 4 players using all controllers and online communication battles via Dreamcast. It emphasizes that it's a new style of play proposal that is simple yet surprisingly engaging, highlighting its low price and the fun gameplay that everyone has been waiting for. Screenshots of Choo Choo Rocket gameplay are shown, along with a basic rules explanation panel illustrating how the choo-choos move in the game. Game information is provided, stating that Choo Choo Rocket by Sega will be released on November 11th. It lists the price as 2,800 yen for the standard edition and 4,800 yen for the color controller set. It's described as a Doki Doki puzzle game for 1 to 4 players, supporting VGA, VM, arcade stick, vibration pack, communication, and keyboard. This page reveals a special scoop about the upcoming puzzle game, Choo Choo Rocket. It announces that Pian, the mascot character from Nights into Dreams, will be appearing in Choo Choo Rocket as a playable character. To unlock Pian, players need to clear all the puzzle stages in Choo Choo Rocket. The page also mentions Chao from Sonic Adventure, highlighting that Chao will also be appearing in Choo Choo Rocket and can be unlocked by clearing the stage challenges. It notes that, unlike in Sonic Adventure, where only 8 Chao could appear at once, Choo Choo Rocket will feature a much larger number of Chao. Finally, the page includes an interview section with a developer from Sonic Team, likely Yuji Naka, discussing the making of Choo Choo Rocket. The development of the game started around May of the current year, with the actual production lasting about 4.5 months. The interview touches on the game's development process, the team size, which peaked at around 13 people, and the initial concept of the game being designed for 4 players to easily enjoy. The developer mentions that the core idea was to create a fun puzzle game for 4 players, emphasizing the enjoyable and engaging nature of the game despite a relatively short development period. This page is a preview for Choo Choo Rocket, focusing on character design and gameplay mechanics. The main designer, Kawamura Sachiko, is interviewed, discussing the game's concept and character origins. Originally considered as cat and mouse, the game evolved to feature space mice and rockets, deciding on the rocket element to enhance the puzzle and action feel. The game is designed to be easily understandable, with clear visuals and gameplay where chasing and fleeing are obvious. The interview mentions that, initially, they considered aliens chasing humans. The page highlights that Choo Choo Rocket is a puzzle game that allows for network information exchange if players get stuck. It is mentioned that all stages are clearable, and the puzzle parts were created by staff members. The game supports up to 3 players on one Dreamcast console. Network play is a significant feature, allowing up to 3 players and utilizing Dreamcast's network capabilities. The checkpoint section emphasizes the game's visual simplicity, but highlights its technical achievement in displaying a large number of choo-choo, mice, characters on screen by fully utilizing the Dreamcast's hardware capabilities. A screenshot shows gameplay with multiple players and scores displayed. The game uses polygons, making actions easily understandable at a glance. The planner, Kaya Fumiyuki, is also interviewed, discussing the puzzle aspects and highlighting that the Choo Choo Rocket team are new members of Sonic Team, focusing on enjoyable gameplay. This page is a special feature from Sonic Team, Volume 1, focusing on the Dreamcast color controller set, with someone from Sonic Team mentioning they pre-ordered it via Dreamcast Direct. The article discusses the technical aspects of Dreamcast games, highlighting smooth 60 frames per second gameplay even in 4-player battles, and using internet communication for online play, promising low latency even with slower internet providers. Mentioned as upcoming titles are Sonic Adventure International and Phantasy Star Online. There is a Check It section announcing that the Sega Saturn's final title, Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, includes special Sonic Team-designed wallpapers. It mentions 4 types of wallpapers are included with the game, with images shown featuring Sonic characters. In urgent news, a Sonic fashion project is announced to launch in 2000, in collaboration with Ito Yokado. This project will create new fashion items featuring Sonic, ranging from casual wear for men and women to other apparel, with sales planned at Sega AM facilities and through Dreamcast Direct. Finally, there's a special presents section for a t-shirt giveaway. 4 different t-shirts featuring designs from new Sonic Team games are being given away to 1 person each at the Tokyo Game Show. To enter, applicants need to send a postcard with their details by November 10th. The t-shirt designs shown are for Amigo, presumably related to Samba de Amigo, Choo Choo Rocket, and Sonic Adventure. This page is an advertisement for the manga Sega Hard Girls Are #1 in the world. It highlights the book's release, priced at 800 yen plus tax, with 136 pages in A5 size. The advert also promotes a signing event with the author, Samushing Yoshiki, to be held on October 31st at Sega Freaks Akihabara. The book itself, Sega's Games Are the Best, is available for pre-order. The illustration features characters resembling Sega consoles as schoolgirls, in a slightly violent or chaotic scene, with one holding a bloodied bat. The tagline reads, "This is a passionate love letter to Sega." This page is an advertisement for Dreamcast Magazine issue number 5, which has had its release date extended but promises amazing content as a result. The main feature is about Nintendo's invincible system, despite media portrayals of them as losing in sales figures compared to competitors like PlayStation. The feature will explore why Nintendo remains strong and stable as they move into the 21st century, even as the world focuses on the upcoming PlayStation 2. Other articles listed include A World with PlayStation 2, Arcade in My Life, the revival of Front Mission 3rd, which is Front Mission 3, game optimization as seen in Fire Emblem, what Macross VFX2 brought to us, which is Macross VFX2, adult game Frontline, GM recommend 20 recommended new and old titles, and other popular ongoing serializations. This page is all about Dreamcast hot information, highlighting new game arrivals. The top right features Ready to Rumble Boxing, with a bold logo and screenshot showing a female boxer in action. It's a fun arcade boxing game. The page lists several games with page numbers for more details, including JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future, the Dreamcast port of the classic fighting game, Panzerfront, a World War II tank simulation game, and Aero Dancing F, an air combat flight simulator, part of the Aerowing series known as Aerofighters Assault in Europe. Also listed are Langrisser Millennium, a strategy RPG in the long-running Langrisser series, Ready to Rumble Boxing Uchikome Warai no Megaton Punch, which is the Japanese subtitle for Ready to Rumble Boxing, highlighting its comedic elements, Vermilion Desert, a mecha action game exclusive to Japan, Puyo Puyo Da, featuring Elena System, a rhythm action puzzle game featuring the popular Puyo Puyo characters and music gameplay, and Space Griffon, a mech combat simulator. The bottom section previews other titles. Revive, Resurrection, a Japanese exclusive adventure game, J-League Pro Soccer Club Wotsukuru, a soccer management simulation game only released in Japan, and Black Matrix Advanced, a strategy RPG. The bottom of the page promotes a thorough strategy Dreamcast soft complete guide for Dreamcast games. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast version of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future, highlighting that this version will also include the original JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game. It mentions that this Dreamcast release will be available from November 25th. The page shows screenshots of gameplay and artwork featuring popular characters from the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure series. It also includes a review score of 90% and details that the game supports 1 to 2 players, arcade sticks, and communication features. Published by Capcom, the game is priced at 5,800 yen. The text expresses excitement about being able to play both the first JoJo game and Heritage for the Future on the Dreamcast. This page reveals the modes available in the Dreamcast version of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future. It showcases the Game Select screen, where you can choose between the original JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Heritage for the Future. The page details the Mode Select feature, explaining you start at a game selection screen, allowing you to pick between the two games, access internet features, and view demo gameplay. There's also a section on Game Select, which elaborates on choosing one of the 2 JoJo titles, and then navigating through subsequent menu screens. The Options section highlights the extensive options available, common to both game modes, where you can adjust CPU difficulty, round count, damage levels, super combo settings, and even access a sound test to listen to background music and character voices. Finally, the Internet section mentions that selecting this option will let you access a wealth of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure information, hinting at the possibility of downloading or uploading clear data online. Screenshots throughout the page feature in-game fighting action from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future. This page is all about the Dreamcast version of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Heritage for the Future. It showcases 2 main game modes, Arcade Mode and Versus Mode. Arcade Mode is described as a faithful port of the arcade game, focused on single-player CPU battles that follow the JoJo story, particularly the DIO storyline. It mentions that famous scenes are recreated, including unique side-scrolling stages. Versus Mode is for player versus player battles, allowing character selection and displaying win/loss records. Handicap options are also available. The page then highlights 16 stand users, who are playable characters in the game. It introduces and provides descriptions for several characters, including Jotaro Kujo, Noriaki Kakyoin, Mohamed Avdal, Jean-Pierre Polnareff, Iggy, Joseph Joestar, and Howlhorse, outlining their unique abilities and fighting styles within the game, such as Jotaro's power and speed with Star Platinum, Kakyoin's Hierophant green techniques, Avdol's fire-based moves, Polnareff's stand and sleeping ability, Iggy's unique fighting style, Joseph Joestar's technical skills, and Howlhorse's collaborations with Jay Gale for combination attacks. The next page is about the Dreamcast game JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and its different modes. It introduces Training Mode, which is described as perfect for practicing combos against a stationary CPU, allowing players to master various techniques. Then Survival Mode is highlighted, emphasizing a tense, single-round elimination battle where any loss means defeat. It notes that in the future Heritage version, a Challenge Mode is available within the Arcade Mode. The page also points out what's different in this version, focusing on enhanced presentation and effects, mentioning new characters and flashier super combo animations. Further modes are mentioned such as Versus Mode and Training Mode, and also internet functionality unique to the Dreamcast version is teased, suggesting original elements and potential for additional modes in the home console release. Screenshots feature characters like Vanilla Ice, Pet Shop, Mariah, Midler, Alessi, and Devo, showcasing gameplay. Finally, Dio is mentioned as the ultimate goal for Jotaro and his allies, introducing new special moves with impressive visual effects and a blood summoning technique. It mentions that in the previous version, medium attacks were limited, but are improved now. This article discusses the upcoming Dreamcast game, Panzerfront, a realistic tank battle simulator nearing completion. Key developers interviewed include Mamoru Nagano, responsible for German tank designs like the E79128, and Yasushi Ishizu, the director and American tank designer, T69E3. Ishizu oversaw all aspects of development, emphasizing realism and extensive research. The game, aimed at tank enthusiasts, is slated for a December 22nd release at 6,800 yen. It is described as a new kind of game, focusing on realistic tank battles with full vibration pack support. A maker's comment advises players to begin with training using anti-aircraft tanks. The game will feature scenarios in Siberia, and players will be able to engage in battles that will even allow the player to defeat anti-aircraft tanks. This page previews the Dreamcast game Panzerfront, a tank battle simulator set in World War II where you command tanks through various missions. The designers, Nagano and Ishizu, discuss the game's design philosophy, emphasizing historical accuracy and the constraints of wartime tank production. Nagano, a German tank enthusiast, explains that his designs, including the E79, are rooted in historical context, considering the limitations faced by German industry during the war. The page highlights key gameplay elements in checkpoint sections. Weapon equipment emphasizes utilizing different shell types and observing the battlefield with the tank's optics. Tactics focuses on strategic teamwork with allied tanks and tactical decisions like using terrain and artillery support. Finally, 6 creators design aerial tanks reveals that renowned mecha designers, including Nagano and Ishizu, have contributed to designing unique aerial tanks for the game, suggesting imaginative vehicle designs beyond historical tanks. The screenshot depicts in-game action with tanks engaging in combat, displaying user interface elements. A Dreamcast game's Panzer tank design, titled Deep Misunderstanding Leads to Unexpected Trials and Errors, is the focus of this feature. Designer Nagano, influenced by German tanks, prioritized a cool aesthetic, knowing purists might disapprove. Nagano embraced a challenging design path, seeking critical feedback on his work. Supervisor Ishizaka aimed for a unique, relaxed feel, balancing his tank with others in the game. The article showcases VK6600H, Panzerkampfwagen E79128 designs, including technical drawings. The design process emphasized appealing German tank designs for the game. Real-world tanks like the Comet and M18 are referenced. Terminology explains key terms and historical tank manufacturers like Krupp and Henschel, with examples of the King Tiger and Panther tanks. American Tank 76.2mm gun motor carriage T69E3, a Dreamcast tank combat game developed by Ishizu Yasushi, is nearing completion. An interview with Ishizu and Nagano highlights the game's focus on American tanks, with Ishizu expressing his passion for the M26 Pershing. The game, though appearing simple at first, offers depth for tank enthusiasts, incorporating realistic details. A humorous inclusion is Pink Tanks, a deliberate design choice for knowledgeable players. Development is in its final stages, with Ishizu satisfied but open to further refinements. The game aims for a powerful and compact armored fighting vehicle experience, balancing realism with game constraints. Design sketches and a screenshot are included, showcasing the T-69E3 and other tank variants. This page details the upcoming Dreamcast title, Aero Dancing F, highlighting its realistic graphical effects. The game boasts incredibly realistic visuals, focusing on the sky as a key element. It's a real aerial combat game overseen by actual pilots and the Air Self-Defense Force, emphasizing realism. The game is currently 40% complete and slated for a spring 2000 release in Japan. The page showcases 3 graphical effects: Shockwave, which depicts the visual and auditory impact of breaking the sound barrier; Contrail, illustrating the realistic white trails left by aircraft; and Reflection of Canopy, showing reflections on the cockpit canopy, capturing sky and cloud details. The game is described as a real dogfight simulation and supports 12 players. It's also compatible with the ASC2 mission stick, rumble packs, VGA output, and modem communication for online play. The developer's comment mentions the impressive jet sounds of the F-15 and describes the game as amazing. This page is showcasing new visual effects in a flight simulator game, possibly related to the Aero Dancing series. It details 4 key effects. Water column describes how the jet stream from the aircraft creates a pillar of water when flying at low altitude over water. Vapor explains the vapor trails that appear from the wingtips due to pressure changes during maneuvers. Motion blur highlights the trails of light created by the aircraft's lights during rapid movements, similar to tail light trails seen in racing games. Finally, readout and blackout effects are demonstrated, showing how pilot vision is realistically affected by G-forces, with readout during negative G-forces and blackout during positive G-forces. The page emphasizes the game's realism in reproducing these visual phenomena. This page is a special report focusing on the development of Aero Dancing F for Dreamcast. The development team emphasizes their dedication to realism, which led them to conduct thorough research at the Japan Air Self-Defense Force's Nutabaru Air Base in Miyazaki Prefecture. The report details the F-15J fighter jet, highlighting its powerful capabilities and its nickname as the strongest fighter of the 20th century. It mentions the team's meticulous efforts to record actual jet engine sounds to enhance the game's authenticity. The page also advertises the Aero Dancing F Special Disc, which was released on January 20, 2000, priced at 2,980 yen. This special disc included extra missions, the Puru Puru Pak Rumble feature, VGA output support, and online communication compatibility. Furthermore, there is an interview section titled Voice Actor Interview, Blue Impulse Flight Demonstration Team Leader, featuring Ryotaro Okiayu. Okiayu discusses his role, noting that while he usually plays cool characters, in this game he aims for a slightly warmer, more human portrayal of the flight demonstration team leader. He mentions the use of specialized flight terminology and his focus on delivering convincing pilot commands in the game. He also shares his joy in being praised with phrases like, "Good job," during successful performances, aiming for a parent-like warmth in his character's voice. The next page focuses on a visit by the Dreamcast Magazine staff to Nutabaru Air Base, highlighting the F-4 EJ Kai Phantom II fighter jets of the Japan Air Self-Defense Force. The page shows various images of the aircraft, both in the air and on the ground, detailing features like the flaps and a resting hook. There's a feature about rarely seen night training exercises, questioning if these elements will be included in the game. An interview with voice actor Taro Sawaki is featured, where he talks about his role bringing realism to the game, drawing from his experience. He mentions a transition from a Blue Impulse leader role for F, and encourages players to enjoy the game. The page also promotes attending air shows at JASDF bases across Japan, providing a schedule of upcoming events. This page is a preview for Langrisser Millennium on Dreamcast, a strategy RPG. The article highlights that you choose one of 5 protagonists, and the game unfolds as a 2D adventure connected to a divine sword. The prologue introduces the setting, where the main character and the divine sword intertwined, leading to a grand tale. The game flow section explains the cycle, starting with opening events that vary depending on the protagonist, moving to battle phases involving unit organization, knight recruitment, item purchases, and combat. Kingdom expansion and event triggers occur afterwards. Reaching specific conditions leads to different endings. The article details the Salian's whole country unification process in 4 stages: the anti-royal rebellion, the appearance and activity of Basilar, Basilar's rebellion, and finally, escape from prison and the death of Ozzy. It introduces Sazlian and the other four protagonists. Taji Asgraf, who becomes the Lord of Rum, described as positive and using two swords in battle, and Rumathi Makaf, a female mercenary leader from the religious nation of Misra in the far north, who lost her subordinates in a previous battle and is now leading a holy war. This page is a strategy guide section focusing on the strategy and battle phases of a game, likely a strategy RPG for the Dreamcast. It details how to proceed through the strategy phase, covering formation setup, battle initiation, using special skills called Godsword techniques, and post-battle processes. The guide explains the screen interface for both phases, highlighting elements like markers, minimap, time display, unit markers, gold, and cursor in the strategy phase, and unit markers for both enemies and allies, HP/WP meters, and target cursors in battle. The characters Masahiro and Nei Raisun are mentioned, suggesting a possible link to the Silhouette Mirage universe, though this game appears to be a new title for the Dreamcast, focusing on tactical battles and unit management. This page is all about Ready 2 Rumble Boxing, a game that was already a hit in America and was poised for release in Japan on the Sega Dreamcast. The page emphasizes the game's comedic and over-the-top boxing action, highlighting its appeal with its unique and eccentric cast of characters, including fighters like Boris the Bear, Nakimov, Afro Thunder, and Lulu Valentine. There are screenshots of the in-game action and a detailed explanation of the Dreamcast control scheme, outlining the button combinations for high and low punches and blocks. The game is described as comic boxing, supports 1 to 2 players, and is compatible with arcade sticks and rumble packs, with a price point of 5,800 yen. The game is marketed as unmissable fun with its outrageous characters and gameplay. This page showcases the Dreamcast game Selene Strike. It introduces 3 gameplay modes. Play mode, which is described as a standard versus mode, and enjoyable even for beginners. Arcade mode is highlighted as a pure versus mode, where players choose a character and fight against computer opponents. Championship mode is a gym management and boxer training mode, allowing players to train and develop their fighters and potentially compete against data opponents. The page also features character portraits including Tank Thrasher, Jet Iron Chin, Furious Faz Motar, Selene Strike, Chemo Claw, Nat Daddy, and Damian Black, and screenshots showcasing the in-game action with commentary emphasizing the comical down animations and responsive controls. It is mentioned that the game was playable at the Tokyo Game Show '99. The overall impression is that the game is fun, easy to pick up and play, and offers a satisfying boxing experience. This page is a preview for the upcoming Dreamcast strategy simulation RPG called Vermilion Desert, slated for release on December 2nd. The game is described as having reached 90% completion and will cost 5,800 yen. It is a team-based strategy simulation RPG for one player, utilizing GDROM media and supporting the vibration pack, communication features, and VGA output. The page highlights the main characters of the game, focusing on the initial members of the Silver Fox unit within the Free Federation Army. 4 key characters are introduced. McLean, a commander known for his cool-headed leadership and strategic skills, with the, quote, Blue Mary. Cleo, also a commander, described as slightly mischievous and charming, hinting at hidden secrets. Reina, a sniper and childhood friend of Cleo, acting as her protector and also possessing secrets. And Roy Serdal, a soldier who has lost his memory and seems to play a central role in the game's story, with the, quote, Forgive me. The article mentions that as players progress, more members will join the Silver Fox unit, but this preview focuses on the initial 7 members who will be active from Mission 1. The comment from the developer states that the game is in the final stages of development, referred to as Master-up, and that a demo version was available in Dreamcast Magazine. They also mention a future official website, where weapons and other content can be downloaded. This page delves into character development in Silverhawks, unreleased internationally, a strategy RPG where raising strong characters is key to victory. It highlights the importance of training between missions to enhance character parameters. The page introduces 5 characters: Roy Seidel, Commander; Boscovich, Shooter; Stan Wood, Skirmisher; Zone Duke, Sniper; and Lydrian, Sniper, detailing their initial jobs and characteristics. Roy Seidel, the protagonist, starts as a commander, excelling in leadership and combat. Boscovich, a former SWAT member turned shooter, is a heavy drinker with high attack power. Stan Wood, a skirmisher, is described as quick and nimble, skilled in trap technology. Zone Duke, another sniper, is experienced and accurate. Lydrian, a sniper from the Dungle tribe, is a wildcard with surprising hidden abilities. The article emphasizes choosing jobs strategically as they significantly impact character growth. It explains how different jobs, like commander, shooter, and sniper, influence parameters and team roles. The commander excels at team leadership and overall strength. Shooters are versatile with weapons, and snipers are crucial for accuracy. Training tips suggest focusing on shooting skills for shooters and snipers, and defense for commanders. The page also stresses adapting job changes to mission needs for effective character development. This page is focused on Puyo Puyo DA, described as Compile Music's greatest achievement and a remake for the 5th anniversary of the series, with an interview with Compile's president, Nitani. The interview discusses the DA concept originating from arcade music games and fitting with Compile's dance music focus, aiming to be enjoyable for both fans and newcomers, highlighting the family-friendly and approachable nature of the game genre. Nitani mentions that all the music used in the game is composed by Masamitsu Tanaka and features popular tracks familiar to Compile fans, and that the characters are rendered in polygons. The Elena system is explained as a system used in the 1994 title Disc Station, Broadway Legend Elena, where directional inputs and buttons make characters dance, emphasizing the simple and fun gameplay. The page also briefly mentions the game being a first challenge in polygon rendering for the series. A screenshot of gameplay is visible, alongside cartoon depictions of Puyo Puyo characters. This page announces the latest Puyo Puyo game, Puyo Puyo DA, which is described as a polygon-based dance game. It features familiar Puyo Puyo characters rendered in 3D who engage in dance battles. The gameplay involves observing the opponent's dance moves, learning the timing, and matching it to the music. Arrows on screen indicate button presses to perform dance moves and send Ojama Puyo to the opponent. The game is currently 70% complete and is being developed by Compile. It is scheduled for release in Japan in December, with the price yet to be determined. Puyo Puyo DA will support 3D dance visuals, VM, arcade stick, VGA output, and 1 to 2 players. A key highlight mentioned is the inclusion of special commands for each character in 2-player battles, adding depth to the combat. An interview with Compile representative director, Masamitsu Nitani, is featured. He discusses the Elena system as the basis for this dance game, drawing inspiration from their previous music game title, Broadway Legend Elena, released in '94. He notes that Skeleton T is a cool character in this game, and confirms the development is progressing for both arcade and Dreamcast versions simultaneously. Nitani also hints at future developments for the Puyo Puyo series, suggesting potential arcade to Dreamcast and Dreamcast to arcade ports, and expresses hope for a continuation of Puyo Puyo DA. An advertisement on the page promotes a CD album produced by Masamitsu Nitani called Shoshin Kisugi Gokoro, Heartbreak Too Much Heart. This page previews Space Griffin, The Blue Steel Cavalry, a game developed by Panther Software for the Dreamcast. It's described as a 3D shooting action game, where players control variable fighters, VFs, to explore a lunar base called Hamlet. The page introduces 3 characters: Oleg Anderson, a veteran VF pilot with exceptional skills, call sign Murder; Mark Smiley, a witty and cynical pilot who often gets into trouble, call sign Thief; Jim Billington, the main protagonist, a rookie pilot who will grow through his experiences, call sign KID. The screenshots show in-game scenes of VF combat and exploration inside the base. The text mentions that players will explore the base with companions, solve mysteries, and engage in cooperative missions. It also highlights the game's 3D dungeon exploration and shooting elements, along with animation cutscenes. The bottom right section details the game's completion percentage at 100%, lists Panther Software as the developer, and mentions a release date of November 3rd and a price of 5,800 yen. It's an action shooting game and supports VGA and rumble functionality. There's also a quote from someone named Yamazaki from the sales department, advising players to be mindful of their power gauge and to use save points frequently. This page from the magazine highlights Cyber Troopers Virtual On Oratorio Tangram. It's talking about the 3D shooting action, mentioning how you progress through layers, shooting enemies. The mecha can transform across 3 stages, changing speed and weaponry. You've got cruise mode, for getting around quickly, and combat mode, when the fighting starts, using shields and beam guns. The article also touches on the story side, called Visual Event, focusing on rescue missions, and a mystery involving missing people. Apparently, you'll meet a woman who helps move things along, uncovering secrets about military research and corporate conspiracies, all enhanced with full animation cutscenes. Character profiles introduce Rautsin Shutanov, piloting the Avenger Artillery version, a computer expert with the call sign Bighorn. Then there's Konrad von Eibel, the commander in the Avenger Commander version, call sign Boss, and Maria Harfield, a female pilot in the Milan Seaworks version, call sign Maria. The next page is a beginner's guide for the Dreamcast game REVE. So Say, a Japanese adventure game that was never released internationally. This guide focuses on the early part of the game, specifically escaping the research facility. It provides a flowchart walkthrough for players, covering the initial steps from entering the research facility to obtaining a card key. The guide details item acquisition, such as getting an oil pump and a bar, and explains how to use these items to overcome obstacles and traps. For example, it highlights a fire trap and offers two solutions: using water to extinguish it, or using a carbon dioxide extinguisher, showcasing different approaches to puzzle solving. The page lists items obtainable in this section of the game, including the oil pump, bar, rubber hose, sheet, oxygen tank, card key, magnet, alcohol lamp, and jack, along with their locations. It also gives tips on how to navigate the traps and proceed further into the game. This page is a strategy guide for the Dreamcast game Underground King Dreamcast. It focuses on Chapter 2, Turn Off the Power or Lift It Up, How to Open the Shutter. The guide provides a walkthrough on how to escape from a garage where a shutter is blocking the way. The guide is broken down into steps, starting from garage exit and progressing to opening the shutter. Key steps include meeting characters like Yatsuki and Yuri, finding a trapped beauty named Mireille, and obtaining items to proceed. The walkthrough details acquiring items such as a jack from the garage locker and a chisel found near the car tire, and using a card key obtained from Mireille's pocket to open a door in the warehouse to find a magnet. The guide offers two solutions to open the shutter: using the jack or using the chisel. If using the jack, the player needs to place the magnet on a specific part and then use the jack to lift the shutter. If using the chisel, the player needs to use it to cut the power cord of the shutter. The page also gives hints on item searching and trap avoidance, advising players to thoroughly examine locations for hidden items and to be aware of traps. It mentions that thorough exploration and clicking on various points in the environment are crucial for finding items needed to solve puzzles and advance in the game. This page is a walkthrough guide for Chapter 3 of the Dreamcast game Imibiki Gusa, a Japanese adventure title that was never released internationally. The guide focuses on opening a closed shutter and reaching the security room. It details steps to take on the first floor, basement 1, and second floor of the game location. The walkthrough involves finding items like a card key, system disk, a coin, and a mori, likely a tool. Players need to solve password puzzles using clues found in items and documents to progress, including inputting, passcode number, and solving problems to advance the story. The guide refers to characters, Misumi and Yuzuki, indicating they are important to the chapter's progression. The walkthrough includes hints on finding a coin, using the mori to cut something, inserting a system disk into a computer, and obtaining passwords by investigating items like a trunk and books. The overall goal is to use these items and solve puzzles to open the shutter and reach the security room. This page is a strategy guide for Chapter 3, Yuzuki and the Stuffed Toy, of the Dreamcast game Revive, First Heartbeat Lecture Scenario Edition, which was never released outside of Japan. The guide details how to trigger and resolve events for both Yuzuki and Masato routes within the game. It explains the conditions for events to occur, such as being in specific locations like the first floor resting room or the B1 hallway, and interacting with items like a system disk. The guide offers tips on puzzle solving, character interactions, and emphasizes the importance of side stories and time progression in unlocking events and achieving the gold ending. It highlights that one item can be used for multiple traps and that advancing time affects the game's scenario and dialogue. The page also previews the next issue, which will feature a thorough strategy guide for both Yuzuki and Masato, aiming for the gold ending, and announces a postcard recruitment for fan submissions related to the game. This page is a goods feature focusing on the game Revive. It's advertising various merchandisers related to the game, most of which seem to be exclusive or limited edition items from TGS99 Autumn Tokyo Game Show. The featured goods include a range of phone cards with different character illustrations and scenes from Revive, Some are serial numbered and sold in sets. There are also Underwear Collection Part 1 items, likely featuring character designs and illustrations. Other merchandise includes name card cases, clear files, super postcard sets, Zippo lighters, both serial numbered and regular versions, and a hybrid card collection premium pack. Additionally, the page mentions new releases of Revive-related CDs. These include a CD drama called Portrait, a new album called Colors by Chihiro Yonekura, and an original soundtrack for the game. The page also notes that these goods are available through mail order via Data East's homepage and are limited, rare items, especially the TGS-99 Autumn phone cards. The application deadline for these goods is November 11th. This page is an advertisement for Dreamcast Magazine's November 26th enlarged issue, promoting a playable demo disc. The magazine, priced at 680 yen, features demos for several upcoming Dreamcast titles. These include the RPG Evolution 2, Far Off Promise, the horror shooter Death Crimson 2, Melanato no Sanka, a golf game called Golf Paradise, the action game Berserk Millennium Falcon Arc, Chapter of the Holy Demon War, the shooter Bangai-O, the action title Vermilion Desert, Desert Stormfront, and the simulation RPG Eldarin Seal, the 5 Warriors of Legend. Each game is showcased with a screenshot and a short tagline, highlighting its appeal. This article discusses overseas training camps in the Dreamcast game J-League Soccer Club O Tsukuru, focusing on their impact on player development over 3 years. Using examples like Dortmund and Brazil camps, the article highlights the progression of training. Germany's training initially focuses on tactical understanding, then increases overall ability, and finally concentrates on counterattacks. Brazil's camp is cost-effective and similarly improves tactical understanding, culminating in a systematic tactical understanding in the second year. The effectiveness of counterattack training in Brazil, however, remains uncertain. The article concludes by suggesting camps are efficient for short-term skill boosts, but temporary drops are recoverable. The article also includes match results and team details for the Peño Asset Club. This page is a guide detailing the characteristics of 16 different national teams within a football management simulation game. It outlines each country's footballing style, typical tactics, and player attributes within the game. Countries featured include Cameroon, Germany, Argentina, Uruguay, Netherlands, Portugal, Chile, Czech Republic, Russia, Paraguay, Brazil, Belgium, Italy, England, Spain, and France. For each country, there is a brief description of their national team's attributes, the club team associated in the game, recommended formations like 361, 451, etc., tactical approaches such as post-play, counter, or zone defense, and highlighted player skills like technique, physicality, spirit, and mentality. The guide seems to be designed to help players choose a national team based on their preferred style of play within the game. This page is a guide on how to build a winning club in a sports management simulation game by focusing on generational changes and player recruitment. It advises players on deciding between signing new, younger players or more experienced, immediate impact players to ensure the team remains strong. The page highlights that the data room within the game provides signals to indicate the right time for player changes. It details 3 message types from the data room. The yellow signal message suggests it's time to look for a replacement player, as indicated in the player's data. The blue signal message, still okay, indicates that the player can still perform well and doesn't need immediate replacement. The red signal message, retire immediately, advises that the player's performance has declined significantly and they should be retired. Furthermore, the guide discusses a tactic to poach players from strong rival clubs using the data room to identify high-ability players and weaken competitors. It also breaks down the advantages and disadvantages of hiring young, developing players versus experienced players ready to play immediately. The next page delves into player development and team management strategies within a football simulation game on Dreamcast. It focuses on integrating new players into your team, particularly young players, and optimizing team performance through training and tactical adjustments. The page offers advice on adjusting newly acquired players to the starting lineup, highlighting the need for training to get them up to speed. It distinguishes between adjusting young players ready for immediate impact and nurturing very young, new players who need time to develop. For the latter, the guide suggests gradually introducing them to matches, starting with games where you have a comfortable lead or against weaker opponents. It emphasizes checking your system and tactics to ensure player compatibility, and discusses efficient player replacement strategies. A section is dedicated to utilizing the February training camp effectively, advising on focusing on team cohesion and tactical understanding, especially if new players have disrupted team chemistry. It suggests that if funds allow, breaking existing sponsor contracts might be worthwhile to prioritize team cohesion training. The screenshots show in-game practice menus, team formations, player stats, and training camp options, all typical elements of a football management simulation title from the Dreamcast era. This guide focuses on efficient player acquisition and youth development in a Dreamcast soccer simulation. After approximately 10 years, youth facilities become available. Employing older players, over 3-0, as youth coaches allows for tailored player development aligned with club tactics. Coach compatibility is crucial. Incompatible coaching can hinder progress. News reports provide reliable, monthly evaluations of youth players, including information on the January newcomer event, where promising players emerge. The guide also touches on in-game events. These scenarios include hometown development, American events, financial decisions like accepting funding for a police station, and the impact of sponsor-led projects, such as constructing a game center, potentially affecting the town and supporter base. This article addresses player dissatisfaction in a soccer management game, emphasizing its impact on team performance and morale. 4 main causes are identified: disliked teammates, lack of playing time, low salary, and losing matches. Regular meetings are recommended to address concerns proactively. Ignoring dissatisfaction leads to poor performance and low team spirit. Individual training can improve player stats but negatively impact team cohesion. The article also presents good or bad scenarios with consequences, such as the financial risk of developing a hot spring, the prestige of having players selected for the national team, the short-term financial benefit of spot sponsors, and the popularity boost from releasing a club-themed game. This page is focused on the in-depth creation and development of an edit player for a Dreamcast soccer game, aiming to create a super offensive midfielder. It details aspects like setting personality, traits, and special skills to customize players. The page showcases menu screenshots from the game, including face editing and profile settings. It also mentions that other attributes, such as face, name, height, dominant foot, and birthplace, can be customized in a similar manner. A section titled Scout Evaluation shows radar charts for evaluating player abilities. The article discusses a 3-year player development process within the game. In the news section, under the title Let's Make 35 News, it mentions Saskatsuku and Yakyutsuku games and announces a network tournament called Go! Let's Cup, highlighting network play and prizes within the game. This tournament seems to be related to the Pro Soccer Club Wo Tsukuru series, known internationally as the Sega Worldwide Soccer Manager or Football Manager series. This page is about creating midfielders in the soccer management simulation game Saskatsuku J-League Professional Soccer Club Otsukuru. It details 2 types of midfielders to develop: a super defensive MF and a super offensive MF. For the super defensive MF, the key attributes are strong tackling and aggressive mentality. The scout evaluation emphasizes defensive qualities, and the player is described as becoming a reliable defensive midfielder over 3 years, good at stopping opponent attacks, though initially lacking in goal-scoring ability. For the super offensive MF, the key attributes are skillful and loves night games. The scout evaluation highlights positioning and dribbling skills. This player is presented as someone who becomes a key playmaker over 3 years, contributing to goals and becoming a team leader, despite the quirky personality trait. The page also announces 2 in-game tournaments: Go! Reds Cup and SSKWEBLEAGUEQUP, detailing the prizes for winners and participants, and mentioning deadlines for entry as October 31st. The Go! Reds Cup prizes include signed Urawa Reds merchandise, while SSKWEBLEAGUECUP prizes include original uniforms and signed items from SSK advisors, suggesting these are community events within the Saskatsuku game. This page is a strategy guide for Black Matrix Advanced on Dreamcast, a tactical simulation RPG. It is titled Concentrated Analysis Edition Part 1, Scenario Flowchart. The guide is structured as a flowchart divided into two routes, Route A, Piripori route, and Route B, Labrab route, outlining chapters, battles, and characters that join your party along each path. It covers scenarios like Pandora's Box, Golgotha's Shackles, and Temple of the Sun God in Route A, and Shining Winged Shrine in Route B, showing decision points and character recruitment throughout the game. The guide aims to provide in-depth analysis to help players fully experience Black Matrix Advanced. The next page is a walkthrough guide, most likely for the Japanese Dreamcast RPG, 7th Seal. This guide covers chapters 5 through 11, outlining the game's progression using a flowchart. Each chapter details locations like Pandemonium Town, Canaan Town, Beguild Town, Sodom Town, Gomorrah Town, Noah's Ark, and Diabolos, indicating free action and battle sequences within these areas. The guide highlights choices players must make, showing how they branch the story and can even lead to game overs. Characters like Marco, Duna, Tarsis, Archon, Rin, and Parody are noted as joining the party at specific points. There's also a section at the bottom called 1 Point Check that touches upon bad endings in the game. This guide details characters in a strategy RPG, categorized by automatic and optional recruits. Forced characters include Abel, slashing, heal, Nemesis blow, Lebros, slashing, Rurikure, Rurikugado, Gaius, thrusting, Poison Cloud, Paraliscal, Piripo, bow, Rurikusoto, Rurikuhiru, and Yohane, striking various dark magic. Optional characters have specific join conditions tied to story events. These include Praha, Whip, Meteor Force, Norse Rays, Prika, Bow, various magic, Domina, striking various support spells, Mastema, striking, Astral, Rurikugado, Oscar, Krasis, Michelle, Lilim, Sandman, Thanatos, Pawa, Poison Cloud, Paraliscal, Stone Petra, Gel, Whip, Heal, Ruparupi, Norse Rays, Van Cloud, Ruby, /various magic, and more. This page is a deep strategy guide for the Japanese Sega Saturn tactical RPG Kuki Seiki Treisha, Valkenstrom. It details character recruitment, unit types, and strategic advice. The page features profiles for 10 characters: Theme, Zero, Duena, Telsus, Arcane, Parody, Rin, Elgrim, Shamshil, and Lyra. Each profile lists their join time in the game, attack type, level, usable magic, and specific conditions for recruiting them to your party. The guide explains 3 unit formation types: direct attack units focusing on close combat power, bow attack units for ranged attacks and backline support, and magic attack units that use magic and intelligence to deal damage and support allies. A 1-point check advises players to be cautious about using counterattack during character recruitment battles, as some characters' recruitment conditions may involve the number of enemy deaths. The B may D column offers a tip on effectively using horns, a limited resource item, during gameplay. The page also lists characters categorized by their attack type, suggesting team compositions. Direct attack units include Abel, Rubus, Gaius, Reprobs, Marco, Praha, Geralt, Zero, Lyra, Shamshil, Ruby, Theme, Elgrim, and Talsus. Bow attack units are Piripo, Prika, Parody, and Rin. Magic attack units consist of Yohane, Domina, Mastema, Michette, Oscar, Clergy, Minion, Arcane, and Duena. This page unveils the secrets of rank evaluation in Panzer Dragoon Saga, a Dreamcast RPG. It explains how your performance in battles is graded from S to C based on points accumulated during gameplay. Points are added for completing battles within the target turn and command time limits, and for defeating Faust. Points are deducted for using recovery items, when ally units die, for using support commands, magic, and in specific chapters for allowing enemies to escape. The page lists target turn counts and command times for various battle maps in the game. Additionally, it details the bonus items players can receive for achieving S, A, B, or C ranks in each chapter, ranging from potions and healing items to weapons and armor. These rank rewards vary per chapter, encouraging players to aim for higher ranks. This section of the Blamad Guide focuses on combat efficiency. It details how attack direction impacts damage, frontal, normal, side, 1.1x, back, 1.3x, and how ranged attacks, like bows and whips, suffer damage reductions based on distance. The guide also explains that including arcane characters boosts rewards, providing a calculation formula. Furthermore, it outlines 7 enemy behavior patterns, detailing their triggers and actions. Finally, it provides specific strategies for defeating the strong enemy Faust, recommending level 30+ units, and specific characters like Gaius and Marco. Tactics for chapters 52, 72, and 104 are presented, emphasizing zombie control, area attacks, and positioning to exploit Faust's weaknesses, also mentioning raising MOV stats for specific characters. This page is a guide to back shops or secret shops within a game, providing locations and conditions to access them. It details various shops found in different towns such as Ketelon Village, Canaan Town 1 and 2, Vegeld Town, Gomorrah Town, Noah's Ark, and Diabolos, each available up to a certain chapter of the game. For each shop, the guide lists the items available, their prices, and their effects, such as stat boosts or status ailment protection. The conditions to unlock each shop are also given, often involving specific characters or actions within the game world. For example, in Canaan Town 2, you need to talk to a sleeping person, and then press the A button in a corner of the path. The page is structured as a series of tables detailing each secret shop and its inventory. This page is a feature from the Sunrise Robot of CG World series, focusing on the OVA Kikukai Gallant Iron Chapter, and specifically the Jiashinhei or Evil God Soldier Mecha, also known as Panzer Blade Jiashinhei. The page showcases a CG render of this imposing robot, emphasizing its distinctive serpentine tail, which is highlighted as a key feature. The text explains that this tail, characteristic of the Jiashinhei, is not merely for locomotion, but also serves as a weapon capable of striking, constricting, and sweeping attacks, making it a versatile combat tool. The explanation section details that the Jiashinhei is a mecha appearing in the 1986 OVA Kikukai Gallant Iron Chapter. Legend says that it amplifies the pilot's madness and incorporates it into its own frame, unleashing combat power far exceeding common sense, with a reputation for destroying everything. Its serpentine lower body contributes to its dynamic mobility, reinforcing its image as a death god. The data section provides specifications. Title: Seidel, OVA, Kikukai Gallant Iron Chapter. Name: Kikuhei Jiashinhei. Height: over 15 meters. Total length: over 20 meters. Weight: unknown. Weapon: giant scythe that resembles a god of death. Pilot: Hai Shalto. Remarks: a cursed Kikuhei said to absorb and amplify human life force. 2Ks. Finally, the page includes a link to the official homepage. http://www.atsai.co.jp/sun/. This page highlights the Dreamaga Cup tournament for the card game 7 Poker, running from November 2nd to November 7th. Prizes include Dreamcast software, VMUs, and visual memory units, and special Pian and Mebian character goods can be won by finding them within the game. The page also promotes membership recruitment for the Dreamaga Hot Spring Association, inviting players to apply via postcard with their details for a chance to participate in future special events. 2 characters, Pian and Mebian, are introduced as part of this event, and players are encouraged to find them in the game. Announcements include changes to the maintenance schedule, adjusting it to 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. from October 26th, and server enhancements to improve online gameplay and reduce congestion, with expanded game rooms and public bath areas. The Dreamakaga homepage is also getting a power-up with improved content and a new ranking search page. Finally, a new mysterious Hot Spring Man event is teased as an upcoming attraction. This page is an advertisement for the NAOMI arcade platform, highlighting its power and games. Featured games with screenshots include Dead or Alive 2, Darby Owners Club, Outrigger, and Toy Fighter. The page also includes a table listing upcoming and released NAOMI arcade games with their release dates and manufacturers. Some notable games listed in the table include Power Stone, Crazy Taxi, Zombie Revenge, Ring Out 4x4, F355 Challenge, Sega, Spa in the Demon's Hand, Dynamite Baseball 99, and Boat Race Ocean Heats. Many of the games listed are noted as Dreamcast ports or scheduled for Dreamcast release. This gameplay guide for Dead or Alive 2 focuses on overcoming the CPU opponent, particularly in story mode. The advice centers on breaking the CPU's defenses and exploiting its predictable patterns. Key strategies include diversifying your attack combinations to avoid predictability, interrupting your own combos to incorporate throws, and utilizing command throws to counter the CPU's holding tendencies. The guide also highlights the importance of observing CPU combo habits to anticipate and counterattack. Players are advised to practice escaping throw combos, especially after the second throw. Finally, the guide warns against predictable wake-up attacks, emphasizing the need for varied and less predictable options when recovering from knockdowns. Visual aids, including screenshots of characters like Kasumi and Zack, are used to illustrate the strategies. This guide introduces the core combat mechanics of Dead or Alive 2, focusing on the triangle system: strikes, throws, and holds. Strikes beat throws due to faster execution and counter-hit potential, making them effective against anticipated throws. Holds counter strikes, requiring players to identify high, mid, and low attacks for successful execution. Throws counter holds. They are advantageous when an opponent relies heavily on holds and is stationary. The guide notes the absence of the offensive hold mechanic from earlier games, though some moves, like Leon's scissors hold, offer similar, less common functionality. This system encourages strategic depth and counter-based gameplay. This page is a guide on throw techniques in Dead or Alive 2. It explains when you can throw an opponent, detailing that throws are possible when the opponent is not doing anything, during a free step, dashing, guarding, holding, or when they miss an attack. The guide breaks down the mechanics of throws, clarifying that they are not instant and involve a grab animation after command input, meaning they can be missed if the timing or distance is off. The page highlights the purpose of throws, stating they are effective for breaking holds, interrupting attacks, and creating openings after the opponent guards attacks. It also introduces blow-away throw techniques, which are powerful throws that can send opponents flying, especially useful near walls and in danger zones, leading to stage interactions like wall breaks or explosions. Examples mentioned include the Dragon Knuckle and Kasumi's throw that changes into a different move when near a wall called Kazan Enbu. The guide emphasizes utilizing walls to maximize throw effectiveness. The next page is a completion commemoration, reader illustration public release for Dead or Alive 2. It seems to be showcasing fan art submissions from readers. There are sections divided by regions, starting with Hokkaido, showing fan art of Tina and Yan Li, with reader comments praising the art style. Fukuoka Prefecture features artwork of Ain in a bunny suit, again with reader comments. Tokyo Metropolitan Area shows fan art of Kasumi with a sword, and Nagano Prefecture has a more realistic style drawing of Kasumi. There's also a Ida's Diary column from the producer, discussing the completion of Dead or Alive 2, mentioning it was a tough final week and they are now in an off-season. They are also asking for reader submissions like goods ideas, character popularity votes, and reasons why people like DOA. The bottom section has contact information for sending submissions and mentions Illustration Corner, Danger Zone, O section. This page introduces Derby Owners Club, a new horse racing owner simulation game for arcades. It is highlighted as a communication-focused game that goes beyond typical game boundaries, making it suitable even for dates. The game is already popular at Shibuya GI Go, where lines are forming to play it. Derby Owners Club lets players become horse owners, breeding and training their horses to become champions. Players choose parents and names for their horses, train them as trainers, and race them as jockeys. Horse data is saved on cards, allowing players to continue playing at other arcades or breed second-generation horses. The game supports 1 to 8 players simultaneously and runs on the NAOMI arcade board. The page features testimonials from players who enjoy the game's social aspect and the ability to raise their own horses. One player mentions enjoying being able to use their own horse in races and the social interaction. Another highlights the detailed training and racing aspects, enjoying the ranking system, and competing with friends. The game is described as easy to operate with a large play space, allowing for relaxed play with snacks and drinks. Players also appreciate that feeding the horse changes its parameters, adding to the fun. This page is an interview titled Adult Space in the Game Center with Hisao Oguchi from Sega's Software Research and Development Department 3, discussing the concept behind Derby Owners Club. Oguchi explains the game aims to provide a different experience from typical arcade games, creating a community space where adults can relax and enjoy themselves. He mentions that arcades often feel homogeneous, and Derby Owners Club intends to be a place where players can spend more time and money for a deeper experience beyond quick 100 yen plays. The game is designed for players to immerse themselves in horse racing ownership, forming communities, and enjoying communication. The price point is set higher at 300 yen for 3 minutes, encouraging longer play sessions and a different player demographic, targeting adults who want a more sophisticated gaming experience. Aguchi envisions the arcade as a place where people can socialize, even have drinks, and consider Derby Owners Club as part of creating this adult space. The Let's Play highlights that even those unfamiliar with horse racing can enjoy Derby Owners Club. It emphasizes the simple controls, easy-to-understand parameter changes, and engaging race and training aspects. The game is praised as being well-made and desirable to play even on the Dreamcast. The information box details the location of Derby Owners Club being on the 3rd floor of Shibuya Jigo, alongside a DC antenna shop, describing it as a theme park for girls. The map provides directions to Shibuya Jigo from Junior Shibuya Station. This page is a preview for Outrigger. The page focuses on player names and initials within the game. It explains that players can enter a 3-letter initial before playing, which acts as their player name throughout the game. This name is used in various places like the battle report window and above player markers, helping to identify players in matches. The article provides tips for choosing names, suggesting players avoid offensive names, and notes that if no name is entered, the game defaults to AAA, which might be replaced with Place 4 to avoid duplicates, referencing a table showing default player numbers and marker colors, associating PL1 to PL4 with different colors. The page also highlights a revenge mechanic, suggesting that players should remember the names of those who defeat them to seek revenge. There are screenshots showing gameplay, character selection, and the in-game interface with player names displayed. This page is focused on giving tips on how to create cool player names for the game Outrigger. It suggests using initials, abbreviated names, or even computer-related terms for inspiration. The page highlights a location test report for Outrigger at the Shinjuku Sportsland in Shinjuku Nishiguchi, noting the game's popularity and skilled players. A table shows examples of names observed during the test, including AKU, ALX, APO, ASP, BBM, BOM, DDD, GOO, JBL, JSR, KAF, KZM, KS, NM, OSC, XR, 666, MAN, SHO, and JKL. The text encourages players to observe and learn from skilled players, but also to choose unique names to avoid being targeted. The Skills Platoon Leader Diary section mentions the positive reception of the Outrigger location test and the upcoming release. It states that future issues will feature in-depth strategy guides, covering basic game rules, character-specific tactics, and map information. The Technique Full of Loads section promises technical details and strategy tips, while map information also included indicates that map strategies will also be covered in future guides. This page reveals character move lists for the Dreamcast game Toy Fighter. It highlights 2 characters, Hiro and Mifune, showcasing their special moves with commands and descriptions. Hiro is described as a throw specialist who excels at grappling opponents. Mifune, on the other hand, utilizes reach and sword attacks to keep opponents at bay, featuring a stance called Wind Dragon. The page includes screenshots of gameplay action and provides move names and button inputs for both characters, with notes on the effects of some moves, like one hit down or damage. The game is described as a 3D versus fighting game on the NAOMI arcade board. The next page showcases Toy Fighter, a fighting game featuring toy characters. The page highlights 3 of these characters, Negibird, Kairuman, and Vitamin B. Each character gets a profile with a description and a list of their techniques, commands, and remarks. Negibird is described as having unpredictable attacks and ring-based aerial moves. He can also counter attacks from Mifune and Vitamin by throwing them back. Kairuman, the frog character, has many tricky techniques that resemble street fighting or brawling. He uses special stances and taunts to confuse opponents. Vitamin, the female character, excels in speed and punch-based attacks. She has a variety of floating techniques and moves that are hard to dodge, and she can throw back punches from either side. The page lists various moves for each character, detailing the command inputs and any special properties of the move, such as causing a hit float, a down, being unblockable, or dealing points. This article examines Rin Plaginer's role in Virtual on Oratorio Tangram. It details her past with the V project and the overload incident, and her reappearance as Annabelle IV in the TSC Dranman plant, impacting IBDN officials and outsiders. The 8th plant, FR08, previously part of the V project, attempted to escape profit monopolization, with Annabelle I's return disrupting their efforts. FR08's preparations failed, leading to its downfall, and Ririn, a 15-year-old girl, was recruited as a master for the 9th plant, Tristram Refor. The main faction aimed for a peaceful succession, but had to recalculate and find an outside leader due to Annabelle V's resurgence. The article also hints at the mystery surrounding Ririn's origins, her predecessor Dr. Plaginer, whose research Tristram Refor seemingly adopted to nurture her. This page is dedicated to Cybertrooper's Virtual on Oratorio Tangram. It describes a female character, possibly named Riksharin Bujanar, and her role within the game's narrative. She was seen as a new leader for FR08, praised for her talents which were potentially inherited from her father. Despite expectations, she wasn't absorbed into the mainstream faction within FR08, opting to remain neutral at Plant 9. The text highlights her political skills, stating that she stabilized Plant 9 and prevented it from becoming a battleground. She was seen as a hidden child of Lifor and built a solid reputation at Plant 9. She formed alliances with the 7th Plant Reference Point, RP07, the 1st Plant Dancing Under, DU01, and the 3rd Plant Mooney Valley, MV03, to counter TSC dominance. Her efforts led to significant organizational reforms within DNA, resulting in a decisive victory over RNA around VCA4. This showcased her political prowess and strategic capabilities. The next page features an article about the development of a new Temjin model for Virtual Amon Oratorio Tangram. It discusses the background of the development and the in-game lore, mentioning the conflict between DNA and RNA corporations, and the need for visually impactful and commercially viable combat virtual reality robots. The article details the development request for a new model, RP07 reference point, from the 7th plant, and the challenges faced due to reliance on FR08 technology. It highlights the use of MSBS Ver.5 as the OS, V converter from FR08, and VR017 Eisdahl's optical technology. A new launcher weapon called Sleipnir is also introduced. The article also mentions the RVR87 Spekinef and its V converter, and the development of a mind booster unit. The second part of the article covers the Road to Oratorio Tangram, detailing a conversation between Annabelle and Lilin Plaginer of FR08. Annabelle asks for the release of the Time-Space Cause and Effect Control Mechanism, Tangram. This request puzzles FR08, questioning if Tangram refers to the 9th plant and its role in controlling V crystals. The article concludes by mentioning that the key to solving the mystery lies with Lilin Plaginer and her intentions. The page includes images of the new Temjin model and the standard Temjin model, showcasing their designs. This page spotlights Cybertrooper's Virtual on Oratorio Tangram on Dreamcast, with a focus on the Temjin Virturoid. It showcases various weapon configurations, naming systems like the Neutral Launcher, Radical Zapper, Blitz Saber, and Blue Slider, alongside the Mind Booster. The accompanying text delivers background lore, discussing the game's development, the virtual reality setting, and the overarching Project V narrative. The next issue preview hints at upcoming information about Annabelle IV and Lilin Plaginer. This page is an advertisement for a Prize Garden Christmas campaign. It announces a special event for Christmas prizes available in October, November, and December. The prizes include a variety of plush toys and cushions, featuring characters from Sesame Street, Winnie the Pooh, 101 Dalmatians, and Jim Henson's creations. There is a contest mentioned where 3 people can win a prize by sending in a postcard with their details and desired prize name before December 12th. The page also lists various prizes available during October and November, including items like adult cosmetic pouches, bags, key holders, plush toys, blankets, and ornaments, featuring characters from various franchises like Sesame Street, Winnie the Pooh, Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and 101 Dalmatians. This page showcases the renewed Sega Prizes website, which is now open. They mention that Taichan and Kony are involved in creating content for the site, including a monthly comic strip by Kony. Readers are encouraged to visit the website and send in questions about prizes for Tak-chan. The page also highlights Sonic Team's new game, Samba de Amigo, which was making waves at the AM show. They are asking readers to contribute prize ideas for Samba de Amigo, like t-shirts and plush toys. Readers could win a special Sega Prize telephone card if their prize idea is chosen. The Kony and Tak-chan's Prize Garden comic strip this month is all about them thinking up prize ideas for Samba de Amigo, showing their excitement for the game. If you have any prize ideas, you can mail them to the provided Tokyo address. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Evolution, The World of Sacred Device, an adventurous action RPG developed by Sega, ESP, and Sting, which was already released on January 21st and priced at 5,800 yen. The page introduces the main characters. Gree Launcher, a butler and successor of the Launcher family deeply devoted to a mag. Mag Launcher, a 16-year-old adventurer from the Launcher family who is concerned about Mag. Linear Cannon, a mysterious girl who can revive plants and came with a letter from Mag's missing father. And Chain Gun, a 15-year-old from the rival Gun family who is also worried about Mag. The manga panels showcase scenes from the game, suggesting a storyline involving a society party, a chase or escape, and encounters with monsters, highlighting the game's action and RPG elements. This page is a horoscope section in a Dreamcast magazine titled Weekly Dreamcastrology, covering the period of October 29th to November 4th. It provides daily horoscopes for each zodiac sign, detailing luck in areas like money, health, love, and work. Each zodiac sign is represented with cartoon illustrations for boys and girls, and includes advice. The horoscopes offer guidance and predictions, suggesting lucky colors and actions for each sign. There's also a section for the lucky person of the week, mentioning a witch, born on October 31st, and advising them to think before acting, especially in love. A small text box at the top comments on the recent cold weather and suggests playing games at home as a good activity. This page is showcasing reader presents from Dreamcast Magazine. There are 4 prize categories for lucky readers. 20 people will win their choice of Dreamcast game software. 6 people will receive a Cage of Growan QUO card. 10 people will get Gather Gurguru Hot Springs Hot Spring Bath Salts. And 4 people will receive a Dreamcast piggy bank. The page also lists the staff members of Dreamcast Magazine, including editors, writers, layout artists, and photographers. Finally, it promotes the next issue of Weekly Dreamcast Magazine, releasing on November 5, 1999, and previewing the November 19, 26th issue, which celebrates the first anniversary of the magazine with a big present campaign and features a DC All Software catalog and Ura Waza Daijiten, Back Technique Encyclopedia. The next issue special features are Langrisser Millennium, Sakatsuku 100-Year Plan 3rd Edition for J-League Pro Soccer Club Wotsukuru, Virtua Striker 2 Ver.2000.1, Electric Brain Battle Virtual Virtuon Oratorio Tangram. It also mentions other games and content like Space Channel 5, Eternal Arcadia, Dino Shokutaku 2, Sunrise Ayutan, Magical X, and Dengeki Tenshi Taisen Mahjong Shangri-La. Furthermore, there is a section on Naomi Rumble, likely referring to a Naomi arcade system game, Outrigger and Jumbo, Safari. There is also a section asking, what kind of company is Sega, with analysis of Sega's development department and company-wide data. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Langrisser Millennium. The artwork showcases characters from this real-time simulation role-playing game. Announced on the page is the debut single CD featuring the game's image song Save Me and ending song Pigeon, set to be released on October 22nd. This page is an advertisement for the Dreamcast game Black/Matrix AD, which is currently on sale. The game is a tactical role-playing game, and the advert showcases several screenshots of gameplay battles and character portraits with stats. It mentions the game comes on 2 discs, and the suggested retail price is 6,800 yen. NEC Interchannel is listed as the publisher.